8,000 buttons in front of me. Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says, oh.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only 2 guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and, Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's go live on a Monday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next 3. Austin, we're going to drop by at 10:30. We will blitz the weekend at 10 as opposed to 11. Why, you may ask? Because Ryan Day is going to be at the podium at 11 o'clock. It appears that we may have a pretty actual quarterback derby at Ohio State. And I just got a text. You guys been getting this? By the way, Reese, you want to do the update live? You want to just do it live? Yeah.
I think everybody knows what happened. Y'all have phones, right?
Everybody knows.
Bad for the Blue Jackets. Good if you're a UConn women's basketball fan. Ohio State spring ball you just mentioned.
Yeah.
OV beat Gretzky, or past Gretzky, I should say.
Yeah.
Bad weekend for the Guardians and Brewers.
Oh, perfect.
So
Rothman and Ice up next. We'll see you tomorrow. I'll tell you what, the ice and frost this morning damn near broke the boys. It was a tough sell. Were you guys scraping ice this morning? You were, correct? Yeah.
That was very defeating to have to lug that out, because usually when the trees start to bloom, the scraper goes in the trunk.
That's right.
And pulling that thing out of the trunk this morning was really defeating.
Bake, you scraping?
Yeah, I did. I thought that I wouldn't have to, but I did have to on my front windshield at least, and on my back windshield I had to go knock the windshield wiper loose because it was stuck. It would have went, and I wouldn't have needed to scrape it, but it was stuck.
We had lacrosse Sunday night. It was like 5:30, and I had to go pull out. I'd put the winter stuff away. Remember about a month ago I declared winter over. You remember that? Was really chesty about it. Winter's over. Not, I guess. So we had to go. I had to dig out the winter clothes for the lacrosse on Sunday night. We have a game. It's going to get warmer today, so it'll be fine. But then this week's kind of dicey. Then it looks like we should be okay for spring game, though, right? And Ohio State lacrosse plays Maryland on Saturday as well. So you have all of those things. Buckeyes are ranked second in the country, by the way, in lacrosse. So they're getting it done. Big win against Johns Hopkins over the weekend. So, and Maryland lost, so that'll be a big one there. And then, of course, spring game, which is going to be a big, big one. So you'll have that to pay attention to. But it should be nice for them. But it was pretty defeating seeing frost and ice this morning. Pretty defeating watching the game on Saturday night. I was I've never rooted for Duke in my life. I haven't. But there's just something about the story of a kid from Maine being identified young and then being all of it. And I wanted to see that story kind of reach the conclusion that felt like it was predetermined. We talked last week a little bit about Carmelo Anthony's run. We talked about Anthony Davis's run, and how those were guys who were identified as special, and then they led teams to national championships. Cooper Flagg is maybe even supersedes both of those guys in terms of the anticipation of his collegiate career. Worth repeating that he's a year younger and still should be in high school, but nevertheless, he's there. And they were up the whole game. They're up the whole game, and they were up double digits for much of the game and had the ball and up 6 or 7 minutes to go and blew it. And there's really no other way to paint it. It was a stupefying thing to watch. You kept waiting for them to, make a free throw. It's a bad call on him on the reach on the missed free throw that led to the 2 free throws at the other end that gave Houston that first lead. Probably a bad call, but in the end, it really falls at their feet. And you guys have an incredible stat here in the prep where Duke is the only team to have an NCAA tournament game with a higher field goal percentage, more free throw attempts, more assists, fewer turnovers, more steals than their opponent, and still lose. Teams had been 335-0 when that had happened. The thing that it reminded me, I was trying to think of just from a historical perspective, like a team just completely blowing it. Memphis had a little bit of this in the national championship game against Kansas in 2008. Certainly UNLV in the early 90s, this predates any of the kids out there, but in the early 90s, there was an undefeated UNLV team that got all the way to the Final Four and led for much of the game, and Duke beat them in the Final Four in the most improbable way, so much so that a lot of people thought the fix was kind of in. This kind of felt like that in terms of just epic collapse with a minute to go. This is like youth basketball 101 stuff. Inbound the basketball. I mean, so inbound it. That helps, right? They could not get the ball inbounded. Hit free throws. That's pretty critical. They have two guys on their team who basically don't miss free throws, Knuppel and then Flegg. Neither one of them miss free throws, basically. And they could not get either one to the line in the last minute of the game, which was stupefying in and of its own. And so brutal. And you lose your chance a little bit. And I'm sure there's a great many people out there who this is heaven, right? Because most people don't like Duke unless you went there. You're one of them. But at the same time, from the historical perspective, there was a chance, and it was vanquished, and there's nothing else to call it other than stupefying failure, and it is absolutely a choke job in the last minute of the game. Flegg's last shot he kind of gets the spin in the key. He leaves it short, probably one that he makes 9 times out of 10. He got a good look at it, but at the same time, there were so many things before that led to it, and it just kind of left me at least, because I was rooting for them. I like the idea of a little bit of history, and we were deprived of that on Saturday night late.
Yeah, watching the collapse happen, of course, you're sitting there like, this is delicious because it's Duke. And some people were comparing this to historic sports collapses all time, and 28-3 came up a lot. And I was wondering, if this was a national championship game, then yes, that comparison's valid. It's a national semifinal game. So this likely goes away in a couple of years. UNC fans, NC State fans, you probably always have this to poke Duke with. The Blue Devils and their fan base will never get over this kind of a loss if they're not able to pull a national championship out in the next 5 years. This won't debilitate that program, but man, this thing hurts. And it goes back to a statement I think that was made on this program that old wins in college basketball. Yeah, and you had a team that was old and grizzled like Houston, and you had a coach who's literally and figuratively old in the sport, and you had a bunch of young guys over at Duke, and they had it running down their leg.
And it's probably right that Duke collapsed, but Houston, the way they play defense is for this, and I think that Duke team was just worn out at the end. I mean, they made one basket in the last 10 and a half minutes. I don't think they had their legs from the way that Houston plays defense. And we talked about it yesterday on the call-in show. It's almost like a Nick Chubb or a Derrick Henry. When you give them carries early in a game, then in the fourth quarter, those 2 and 3 yard runs become 12-yard runs, 20-yard runs, 25-yard runs. And I really think that's how this Houston defense kind of is. And Cooper Flagg, I don't know how many times all year Cooper Flagg has played 38 minutes, let alone 38 difficult, hard minutes like that. We talked about Bruce Thornton and how many minutes he played. And at the end of the games, he was probably just worn out because he was playing 38, 40 minutes a game. I don't know how many times Cooper Flagg did that this year. And I just think, it's probably the collapse, but man, give Houston's defensive pressure credit.
Yeah, they kept at it, and they made everything hard. To your point, I think it's an astute one, Bake. Proctor had 37 minutes. Knuppel had 38. Flagg had 36. And every time down, it was on Flagg to initiate offense, right? He has to do for them what LeBron does. He does it. There's a moment when they finally got the ball inbounded. It was right before the offensive foul on Flagg on the missed free throw. And they got the ball into Proctor, and he's racing down the court. And to his left, and you know that Houston's going to foul because they're down 1. You know they're going to foul. There's 30 seconds. They're down 1. He's got Flagg to the left. He has him to the left, and he didn't pass it to him, and he kept it, and he got fouled, and he missed the free throws. Flagg was there, though. And if Flagg was 8 of 8 from the line in the game, Knuppel was 3 of 3. Those two guys don't miss free throws. If it's either one of those guys with the ball, they probably win. And by the way, I think this also so you get your national championship. We'll have some more on that a little bit later on. You're going to get Houston and Florida for the national title. Big audience for this stuff. 15.3 million for the Final Four doubleheader on CBS. Best since 2017, up 19% from last year. Houston Duke did 16 million. That game ended midnight. Florida Auburn was 14.3 million. So big audience for this. And this is what happens when you get 1 seeds. Obviously, the dream for CBS and Turner would have been Duke against anybody tonight. And instead, you get Houston and Florida, which is not quite the same type of it's not going to have the same numbers. The Duke numbers would have been pretty transcendent, especially if Flag were in it. So that's the headline of the weekend. But as Reese mentioned in the impromptu update, there were a bunch of headlines this weekend. And one of the ones we'd like to forget is what happened up in Canada for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think it's safe to say it feels like it's over. Tough weekend for them. We will get into that coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Big Voice Guy here to remind you that you're listening to The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone for Window Nation. April's a great time to spruce up around your house, like getting rid of those old, ugly, drafty, hard-to-open windows and starting fresh. Especially during Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 free sale going on now. There's no limit to how much you could save, and if you buy a house full of windows, they'll include a free entry door, too. Plus, with 0% financing, 0 down, and no monthly payments, you could get new windows and pay nothing until 2027. How do they do it? Well, Window Nation partners with the top window manufacturers in the nation to build windows to their high-quality specs. Then they pass the savings on to you. You'll protect your home with some of the best windows you can buy at a fraction of the price of those other brands. Just imagine what you could do with all that extra money. Hurry, the sale ends soon, so don't miss your chance to take advantage of the Buy 4, Get 4 free and pay nothing until 2027. Schedule your estimate right now at 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com. One more time, that's Buy 4, Get 4 free from Window Nation, 866-90NATION or windownation.com.
Huntington is banking that just clicks. Like asterisk-free checking, an account that's filled with features, but no monthly maintenance fee, no matter what. Because it's your money, right? So we think you should keep it. It's just one more way we're looking out for people every day. Is your bank looking out for you? Maybe it's time to switch. Visit your neighborhood Huntington branch or make the switch at huntington.com/yourmoney.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
We've lowered prices. You can save 15% or more on hundreds of items like Thomas Mini Bagels, Campbell's SpaghettiOs, and more. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter, and spring is here, and it's time to refresh your yard with Ohio Mulch. With 15 convenient locations in Central Ohio, it's easier than ever to get mulch ready for the season. Now through April 5th, get 5 bags of red, black, or brown mulch for just $10.95. Need it delivered? No problem. Save $50 on home delivery when you order online. Visit OhioMulch.com today and spruce up your yard with the best.
Ohio Mulch, landscape supply, cleaner, greener, better.
Spring forward, Columbus, with the Waterworks and Header Heating and Cooling Services. We're here to thaw you out with this limited time offer. Get up to $2,000 off a new complete furnace and AC system. This offer is too good to pass up. The Waterworks and Header Heating and Cooling now together to serve you better with $2,000 off a new complete furnace and AC system. This offer won't last. Call us today, 614-232-2222. That's 614-232-2222.
Common Man and T-Bone.
We're not one for journalism. We're just a couple dummies that play fart noises and make fairly obvious off-color observations.
Common Man and T-Bone.
Sponsored by the Hinderer Motor Company.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on The Fan.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Damaro.
April is Autism Acceptance Month, and it's an important reminder that we must support and celebrate all students, no exceptions. That's what Ohio's public schools do. We don't pick and choose our students. We provide safe, welcoming learning environments for all. That's why Ohio lawmakers must support our public schools in this state budget.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We'll see mostly sunny skies today and highs getting in the mid to upper 50s, but winds will pick up, which will add that wind chill, so make sure to bundle up. We could see some isolated showers later on in the day, otherwise decreasing clouds overnight. Lows in the 20s with a freeze warning in place that goes overnight into your Tuesday. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfolo with your 10 weather impact forecast.
Question from a listener: do you dopes ever get tired of talking about Ohio State? No. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. Our top men are working on everything except this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
Well, the Jackets went to Canada over the weekend and were defeated soundly. 9-0 combined in the two shutouts, one in Toronto on Saturday and then one yesterday in Ottawa. Bake, I'm sure you watched all of this. I will be candid with you. I did not. Went head-to-head with the Final Four, and so I was paying attention. It was not much to pay attention to in the game against Toronto, and then yesterday we had lacrosse for much of the afternoon, so I did not see any of this yesterday as well. This is it, though, now, and Porty kind of sums this up a little bit in terms of, for some perspective, the Jackets are now closer to last place in the East than they are a playoff spot. How did we get here? Bake, you watch every second they're on the ice. How did they get here?
Well, I think it's something we talked about when they were playing the Floridas and the Tampas that 1 week. It might have been right after the Stadium
Series.
The
weekend after. It was the week that followed the Stadium Series game against Detroit. Yeah.
The temperature has risen, and this young team who had not been in situations like this, it sure seems like started gripping their sticks a little tighter. It seemed like they were a step slow. And to be honest with you, like this weekend, Bo, I literally, in the Toronto game, screamed at my TV once, make a save.
Yeah.
Because it seems like the goaltending for the Jackets has been better this year, and Elvis has been better. But there's still those key moments where you're like, man, this team really needs a stop right here. And they didn't get the stop. Like I think it was the 3-0 goal.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, you got to save that. In the Avalanche game, the Colorado game, the Jackets get it back and they get the lead. Then they give up the tying goal and then the 4-3 goal. It was kind of a soft goal. And you're like, gosh, you got to make a save there. And then yesterday, it starts off with Tarasov. 2 goals, the first 2 shots. Sometimes your goaltender just has to bail your team out. And this is not all on the goaltender's fault. Like, these games were just a little too rich for this young team right now. But, yeah, I just feel like if they could have gotten a key save at a key moment, maybe a few things are different. But, hey, when you get shut out back-to-back games, that's not on your goaltender.
No, it's not. What you're deprived of is the kind of the headline here. Let's hear from some of the prominent figures here. Let's start with Dean Evison on the fight down the stretch and the fact that they got to keep fighting.
They're pros, right? That's our job. Our job is to get ready for the next game, and that's what we have to do, regardless of how we feel emotionally or physically. We got to get back up and ready to go again. We're still in a position where, again, I don't know what happens tonight or whatever with other teams, but we have to have the belief that if we can get on a roll and get on a run here, that we'll be in a good spot at the end of the year.
He was asked by the attending media if he's concerned about the fight of the group. Here's your head coach on that.
Yeah, we have no questions that everybody's competing. I don't care who it is. Elvis, Tarasov, they're competing. Every guy on the team, they're battling to try to win hockey games. We have no concerns over that.
Sean Monahan's been here before with Calgary and certainly knows what is required this time of year to get in and then to thrive in it. He was asked after the loss in Ottawa yesterday what some of the issues could be. Here was his answer.
No, not exactly. got to find ways to score. We need to win games to obviously get where we want to get. So got to be better in front of their net, better offensively, and be harder.
There was a stretch. It might have been when they went to, coming out of that Florida trip where they got battered pretty good. Then they went to Madison Square Garden and won. And you were like, oh, okay. All right. There's some response. That's what you're looking for. And we were here on a Monday, I believe. And I remember looking at the standings and thinking like, man, let's track down that number one wild card spot. Let's see if we can get even above that. And it was too rich. Reese, I think it was you who said, let's settle down on that. You're probably right on that, because when you think about what's happened over the last month, you are now at 77 points. Ottawa that's how you do it. They're now at 90. And the Canadians are now at 85. So, like, that's gone. You got 6 games left. You cannot make up 8 points in 6 games. There's people between you and them. I mean, I guess anything's possible, but let's just be honest based on the way that they're playing. Here's what you're deprived of, and this is the thing that sucks. This is what sucks. That outdoor game was a city phenomenon. It was a home run for the region, for the city, for hockey fans in Ohio, beyond even just the Central Ohio window. There were people from all over the state who came to that game. There were 90-some thousand people there. Not all of those people are diehard Blue Jacket fans. Not, right? Some people just signed up for the experience. And we had talked about at the beginning of the year with Porty about make sure that outdoor game matters. Well, it did. They won it. It was really cool. Then you got greedy. And you said, now what if you could make a run, right? And you'd have to talk to the people in the room. We'll talk to Jody next time we have Shelley time. I think tomorrow we'll talk about it. But is it possible that maybe too much was into that outdoor game, and that it caused, between that and the international series that Zach Werenski played in, because watch Zach and you see that too, it's a lot of hockey, and that maybe this was all just a little bit too rich for all of their blood. But the thing that you're deprived of is, to my point of the 90,000 folks who aren't all diehard Blue Jacket fans, if this team were to have gotten in, and they're not officially eliminated yet, but you can do math as well as I can, if they were to have gotten in, that 90,000 plus, and then all the people who watched, everybody who was locked into it, now they're jumping on a bandwagon, right? Now it becomes something that you are connected to, because they found people who are not Jacket fans, who love that outdoor game, who went to the outdoor game, and they got a little bit of hockey fever. Look at Tyvus when he went to the game last week. He went to his first game there, went to it last week. That was his first experience with it. Loved it. More. Well, you get greedy. And you want a chance to feel what the postseason's like for all these new fans who are just discovering it. And this has been, quite honestly, a movie script year, from tragedy to uplifting to emotional, all of it. It's all there. But for it to really finish, it had to end in the postseason. For it to be a Moneyball type, turn this into a movie, it had to manifest with a postseason berth. The movie cannot stop at the outdoor game. And unfortunately for the Blue Jackets, for the diehards, and even the people who jumped on the bandwagon, it's going to. And that's the thing that sucks a little bit, just selfishly, because what you were deprived of could have been really, really cool for the next month.
The last month, and I mean March 7th to April 7th, has been largely disappointing for this team. But I don't think that should, for the overall season, take away from what's been accomplished here. This is a team that was supposed to be in a couple years of a rebuild, and now that it feels like next season, you could put legitimate expectations in October on getting a playoff spot or staying in the fight for the entire season. And I think that's better than where you thought you were going to have at the beginning of this year. I think with that Stadium Series game, everyone is going to remember the magic that was that moment. It's going to remember the magic and the build-up to that. I just think for this Blue Jackets roster right now, you're closer to the Rangers, Islanders, Flyers than you are the Hurricanes, than you are the Devils, than you are the Panthers and the Lightning. And that's shown out over the last month when those teams are getting into playoff positions, when those teams are trying to just fine-tune everything to make a Stanley Cup run, you're not able to hold up. It's Ottawa tomorrow night. Yikes. To steal a segment. That's not a segment from another show. Like that's the measuring stick in late March, in April. Yeah. You're not there yet.
No. They've won 4 games since the outdoor game, guys.
Yeah,
two of them in shootout. They've won 4 games. Only 2 have come in regulation. They beat that game I was referring to. That was on a Sunday. I mistakenly thought it was on a Saturday. It was Sunday at the Rangers. They won 7-3. That was the one that we came on and said, okay, let's go, right? And then after that one, they lost 6 straight, 2 overtime wins, and now 3 straight. So, yeah, this is just waters they're not prepared to swim in big.
4-10-1 since that outdoor game, Bo, to your point there. And listen, like, I understand what you're saying about the momentum of the fans, right? The thing that really stinks about this is, and it's awesome that these guys are getting this experience now. Like, Reese, you say, yikes, they're playing Ottawa again, and then yikes, we've got 2 back-to-back with the Capitals this weekend. These are big games, though, for this team, in the fact that these young guys are playing these games where the temperature is high, and they can learn by what these other teams are doing, how they need to elevate their game in the future. That's what really stinks about this to me, Bo, is that this young team doesn't at least get a taste of the playoffs, because how good could that be for them next year and the year after that and moving forward?
Yeah, for sure. What you just described, though, while very, very true for the guys in that room and for the diehards, the bandwagon folks are out. They're out now. So that's the thing that sucks, too, is that part of it, is you had a chance for something to be like a 2-month, hey, we're all in, spring has sprung, let's go to games, all that stuff. And the audience is going to be great. There's going to be all of it. But in terms of crossing over, there was an opportunity that was lost. And, yeah, the young team will benefit. It's this season, I think it's still a win by any measure, but wildly disappointing the way the last month has gone. Perhaps we should prepare for a little bit of a surprise at the quarterback battle at Ohio State, based on some of the reports coming out of the scrimmage they had on Saturday in the lead up to the spring game this Saturday. We will get into that in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
SoFi Personal Loan is here to help you achieve something once thought impossible: overcoming high-interest credit card debt. Walk the tightrope of your finances with one low, fixed-rate monthly payment, no fees required, and as soon as the same-day funding. That's right. Pull off your own debt-defying stunt with a SoFi personal loan. Visit SoFi.com/trick to learn more. Loans originated by SoFi Bank, N.A., member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. NMLS 696891.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
I've had a number of surgeries, and frankly, I don't have time to rehab a surgery and an operation at this point in my life. I didn't want to take time off my kids' activities.
That's why former college and pro football player Bobby Carpenter turned to QC Kinetics. We couldn't be happier saving our patients like him from operating rooms and long recoveries.
I've been able to resume like normal activity for me, which is a lot of running. It's a lot of workouts. I've been very, very blessed with how it's been able to hold up.
For so long, patients have accepted surgery as the only solution. But with new technologies, the medical professionals at QC Kinetics use regenerative treatments, your body's own biologics, to help heal and restore knees, hips, shoulders, and backs.
I actually ran into a friend of mine over at our golf course, and he had his knee done. It felt so well. He'd got his shoulder done. He goes, I can't thank you enough. He'd heard the commercial on the air, and so it's feeling great.
Find out how you can avoid surgery and finally get relief. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up? What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations: Grandview, Kahana, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on a Monday. The annual student practice scrimmage was over the weekend at Ohio State, and the overwhelming reporting coming out of that is that in regard to the quarterback battle, it was Lincoln Kienholz who outplayed Julian Saying in that one moment. And here's the thing that's a little tricky about having these conversations about a quarterback battle at Ohio State. And Ohio State's incredibly gracious with the amount of access we have now. It's an incredible amount for our reporters, and Austin will be on with us in an hour. He will give a very detailed view of what he saw, which was an extended view of Buckeye practice on Saturday. And, of course, all of you will see in the spring game this upcoming Saturday what it all looks like. And so we're given these windows where we can observe, and the people who are on the beat can observe, and they see it for their own eyes. Obviously, we don't see all of it. This isn't an NFL training camp where every practice all day is open to the media and to fans, and everybody can see it. So we get these snippets, right? And in these snippets, we draw conclusions. And one of the things that is very clear based on Saturday is that unanimously, Lincoln Kienholz had the better Saturday than Julian Sayin. The thing that complicates this a little bit is the way that you view these two prospects. And the reality is they could not have come from more different circumstances. Impossible. Julian Sayin from Carlsbad is someone who is identified very, very young, who has been kind of built into this, right? He's kind of been programmed, for lack of a better word, his incredible talent juxtaposed with the training and identified and all of it. Big school California football, 5-star number 1 quarterback in the country, goes to Alabama. Saban leaves, ends up transferring here. And we started hearing whispers of him last spring. It was pretty early. We started hearing whispers about how it was just a little bit different coming out of his hand. Remember last year, he quickly ascended to third string, and there was times when he would play even ahead of Devin and get in there, and you'd see him even in mop-up duty get in there and play. So he was anointed because of that. Now, you don't get anointed anything around here. Will Howard had a black stripe in spring football last year, so you got to come earn those things. And he has earned his bite at the apple and his chance to compete. Kienholz is entirely different. South Dakota's not Montana, but ain't far. And growing up where he did and playing 3 sports in relatively rural America and being the best athlete in South Dakota as a football player, a basketball player, and a baseball player, you're not really training for anything, right? It's something that once you get here, you get this ball of clay, and then it was up to Ohio State to mold him and to turn him into this. But rest assured, they loved him from the jump. I was doing an event with Ryan a couple of years ago. James was there, Ryan was there, and I emceed it. And we were talking about the quarterbacks then, even the young guys. And Ryan was effusive in his praise of Lincoln Kienholz, that the makeup of him was very special. Well, now all of a sudden you're talking about, remember, he didn't come early either. So you're talking about his second season on campus. This is just his second spring, the same as saying, but it's 2 years of body by Mick. It's 2 years of quarterback finishing school. And it appears that this ball of clay has been molded into something quite elite. And maybe it's as much that he has just been great as it is any sort of concern about saying, my hunch is there's none. This does complicate matters, right? Because you open with Texas, and I think that you probably want this thing kind of open and shut by the time you get to early camp next year. And I don't know if that's going to be the case based on what has happened here. We started to hear whispers about this. Tim May's on with us every Friday. He talked a little bit about the whispers of Lincoln Kienholz. Austin's talked about that as well. This was a big moment for him on a Saturday because people saw it. We don't know what's happening when those doors are closed, though. All we can do is take what we see or what the beat sees on a given Saturday and draw some conclusions from that. Needless to say, though, what was considered, I think, at the start of camp as an open and shut Julian Sayin ascent, that is not it. We had Austin on 2 weeks ago, and he said this might be a little bit more like Justin Fields competing for the job. I don't think that's where we're at anymore. And that's a credit to Kienholz as much as it is anything else, that he has taken this opportunity, a real opportunity, and ran with it. And so this is a massive week. Ryan we'll take it for you live at 11 o'clock. This is a massive week for those two. And I think this goes back to Ryan changing the spring game from spring showcase to spring game. He needs to see these guys live bullets, big crowds on Saturday.
Yeah, don't ever change from the spring game. Keep it the game, because I see in college football and the landscape that it's going to continue to evolve. Feels like on a monthly basis that you're going to need to have these kinds of game reps for guys. Or if you have other questions, you go to the portal and you get a quarterback. Like there's, I think, the biggest coincidence, it's not a coincidence that every major college football program is dealing with with a quarterback question because of how in flux this position has been thanks to the transfer portal. And so don't be surprised if on Saturday you see something similar to what you heard coming out of Student Appreciation Day, where Lincoln Kienholz is that dude that outperforms Julian Sayin, and to no real fault of Sayin's, but the atmosphere is something that feels like Kienholz is a little bit better prepared for right now. That doesn't mean come fall, it's going to be, that's the decider, but right now you get what happens when you have someone that's not experienced a lot of college football. And Lincoln, I want to not ever remember that Cotton Bowl again, but maybe that's where we look back and say that's where Lincoln that's where he was kind of forged in this.
It's funny you mentioned that Cotton Bowl, Reese, because I feel like most people wrote Lincoln Kienholz off after that Cotton Bowl in what was the worst offensive line performance I've ever seen from an Ohio State team. And Ohio State spent that whole time getting Devin Brown prepared because it was going to be the first time Devin Brown had started and really seen a lot of reps. So not only was he a freshman going into an environment with a team that had everything, they were playing for everything to beat Ohio State, an Ohio State team that sure didn't seem like they were playing for much, and he wasn't prepared for it at all. And I think a lot of people just written him off. He's a guy that I've always believed in, Bo, because I love guys that excel in multiple sports, because I think, one, obviously they're super athletic, but two, there's just a certain sports sense that I don't think you can teach people. I think people either have it or they don't. And he was so good at, everything he did that you got to not only be athletic, but have that sports sense. But let's not forget, too, that Devin Brown was the star of the Student Appreciation last year, and he never saw the field for Ohio State. So,
to your point on Kienholz, I think that it takes almost rural America for his story to happen. I don't know that it could happen here, because I see what happens in youth sports in these these bigger populated areas where you have coaches who say, well, you can't play football, basketball, and baseball. You can't do that. Where are you putting time in on your craft? In South Dakota, in places like where I grew up, you need the best athletes to play everything. There aren't enough of them. So, you have to play everything. Best athletes play everything. They play 3 sports. Here, and in most states where there's population is much heavier, you identify, pick 2. Mike NBC is not Lincoln Kienholz. He's not like that. But already, and he's a 7th grader, and I'm sure any of you out there who have middle school kids, who have high school kids, you're dealing with this. You have coaches saying, yeah, he really can't play. I got coaches, you really can't play lacrosse and basketball. You got to pick one. If you are identified as a quarterback, like a special quarterback around here, you're quarterback training year-round. Drew Aller, Medina, quarterback train year-round. There's no time off. He wasn't, that's not how it was going to go. These kids are not allowed to be well-rounded anymore. We've ruined that. So Kienholz's experience, I think, is very much a throwback experience in high school. And so for Ohio State to identify him, and Ryan loved him in the recruiting process, loved him. They love Sayin, too. They love them both. I mean, what's not to love? But, they saw something in him that clicked. You remember when they did the Cardale Jones celebrity softball game last summer, and we were talking about who's going to win the home run derby, and I said Kienholz is going to win the home run derby. And people, what are you talking about? I'm like, he was the best baseball player in South Dakota. I promise you he can mash. And what did he do? Mashed, right? Athlete, dude, right? So, but you don't know what that ball of clay is going to look like. You don't know how it's going to respond to the hottest fire. Well, he's responded quite well. And this thing ain't done. Far from it. Sayin's been great in spring. Kienholz had a very nice Saturday. But this is absolutely a competition going forward. And we'll get some perspective on it from Ryan coming up in his availability around 11 o'clock. We will take that for you live just to get you an understanding what's going on this week. So one more practice tomorrow, post-practice interviews then, and then Saturday is the spring game. Ryan's going to join us here on this program Thursday at 11:30. So you have that to look forward to, which is nice. We'll talk to him about that. The spring game tailgate show with AR and Tim May, that's at 10 o'clock on Saturday. 11:45 is the Ohio State Network pregame. So that's kind of what you have to look forward to this weekend on campus. After that, it winds down a little bit. Buckeyes head to visit the president on Monday. And then April 16th, the spring transfer portal window opens. So buckle up for whatever that may hold and see if the Buckeyes need to do a little shopping or potentially some guys want to jump into that. We had a very big newsy sports weekend. Ovi makes history. UConn does as well. We will get into all of that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic. Oh, yes. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Huntington is banking that just clicks. Like early pay, moving up payday so you could get your money faster, up to 2 days faster. And there's no cost. It's your money, right? So stop playing the waiting game. It's just one more way we're looking out for people every day. Is your bank looking out for you? Maybe it's time to switch. Visit your neighborhood Huntington branch or make the switch at huntington.com/yourmoney. Direct deposit and eligibility requirements apply.
Home values in Columbus are sky high, and you have a ton of equity. Your financial advisor thinks the market has peaked. So if you're thinking about selling, it's time. Except for two things. High interest rates will burn you on a new home loan, and you're not ready to move. Savvy financial advisors suggest Truehold's new Sell and Stay program. It's ingenious because they buy your home now while its value is high, but you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. Smart, right? Truehold will make you a solid cash offer, not a lowball offer like the others. It's based on your home's current value. The cash is yours to travel, pay off bills, or secure your retirement. And again, you can stay in your home with a comfortable lease. Truehold covers property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. See how much Truehold will pay for your home today. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
Hi, Kevin. How's my engine doing?
Well, you tell me, little lady.
What?
Ma'am, an engine is delicate. It's got a lot of parts rubbing together.
Oh, is that so?
Lube her up real nice, and she'll purr like a kitty cat.
How do you know so much about engines?
Well, I spent a lot of time under that hood.
Babe, she is running hot. Let's go. And next time, I get to play the mechanic.
Rev up the romance with Lion's Den, the official store of pleasure, passion, and romance.
We're catching up with that famous deep-sea explorer, Jacques Black Jacques. Jacques, where are you today?
How?
You're in Columbus. What could you possibly be exploring in Columbus?
The April showers bring flooding to Batmans.
Oh, I see. Spring rains mean basements are flooding.
This not necessary. Apex Pros.
Not necessary. Call Apex Pros.
A simple zoom pump check.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble understanding. Zoom pump check. Sump pump check. Are you saying sump pump check?
Oui.
Yes, of course. A sump pump check from the pros who knows at Apex Pros.
They come to your house.
They come to your house.
They test your zoom pump.
They test your, what is it again?
Zoom pump.
Some pump, right.
All with a 5-star guarantee.
All with a 5-star guarantee. Now, see, I understood that perfectly.
No doubt about it. Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
All your favorite and least favorite fan shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just type in 971 The Fan to the search bar and hit that subscribe button. It's free.
We're the land of the free and the home of the sunburnt, freckled fat guy.
Join now.
Quarterback Jordan Love isn't just on Green Bay's team. He's also on the American Family Insurance team. Because like us, he believes in dreaming fearlessly.
Just chase your dreams and don't let nobody hold you back.
And we help protect those dreams with the right coverage so you can
dream fearlessly.
American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Nick bought a new guitar, a 62 American Classic Electric.
Does he know how to play? No. But Nick's Empower investment account has performed well. He got good at money, so he can be a little bad. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.
Past performance is not indicative of future returns. Investing involves risks. You may lose money. Advisory services are provided for a fee by Empower Advisory Group, LLC, EAG, a registered investment advisor with the Securities and Exchange Commission. This is a really, really, really good guitar solo.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Weston Air Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
We'll read your emails on the air, but we won't tell you where to send them. Hey, we're not doing all the work for you. This is Bishop and Friends.
Probably my one of my favorite stats I've seen in probably maybe ever was the one that popped up over the weekend. Wayne Gretzky, 1487 games played, 894 goals. Alexander Ovechkin, 1487 games played, 895 goals. The statistical anomaly of that is just impossible to wrap your head on. That they played the exact that they've played the exact same amount of games, and Ovi has one more goal. It's just one of those things that'll never happen again. It was one of those things that this is probably 4 or 5 years ago. We were doing a Shelley time, and the Jackets were playing at Washington, and Ovi was on one of those kind of tears that he's been known to be on when you have nearly 900 goals in your career and scored more than anybody who's ever played the game. And they were in Washington. I said to Jody, like, he's going to get it, isn't he? And Jody's like, yeah, I think he is going to get it. Because this is one of those things nobody really talked about. Nobody ever talked that anyone was going to pass Gretzky on anything. And no one will ever pass him for points. Like, that's so far out there that'll never get touched. But the goals one was something that became kind of doable 4 or 5 years ago, and then he did it. And I know that there was hope that it would happen here or potentially it could happen against the Blue Jackets. You could tell the pace that he was on in March that it was just a matter of time. And the way that he did it was so damn cool, the fact that Gretzky was there. I do think that this goal scored record is going to be kind of like the Brady passing yards record that he set, where someone else will track this down. Like I could see Austin Matthews tracking this thing down, depending on how far Ovi wants to put this thing out there. There's always been talk that once he sets, he's going to go play in the KHL in Russia. I don't know or not. But right now he's on a team that can win the Cup, and he's got 895 of them, and he's scoring at a rate that is as good as anybody in the game. So it's one that you never thought would be broken until about 4 or 5 years ago. Then you looked at it and you said, yeah, I think that he's going to get it. And he did. He did over the weekend. A magical, really cool weekend for the NHL.
Yeah, there was a montage of people congratulating him. I think the Capitals did a really good job. The NHL did a really good job of promoting that. You know, we often get on the NHL, the NBA, and Major League Baseball for not doing enough to promote their product, but they did a good job of having all of the calls from like his milestones and then having some of the hockey greats like congratulate him for it. And it just kept going, like 500. We'll try to get 600, then maybe 700, and you get 600. Well, how about 700? And then how about 800? Yeah. And then it just keeps climbing to that. And I'm not so sure that if he keeps scoring at this rate, and again, like you mentioned, they're a Cup contender this year. He's probably coming back for them to be a Cup contender next year. If he puts it so far out of reach,
he could if he sticks
the
around.
Rate this is going right. It's all dependent on that. And you know, right now they're the hottest team in hockey, and he's the greatest goal scorer I've ever seen. Like I wasn't around for the Gretzky prime years. But for Ovechkin, when they had the video of him like falling down and then like pushing the puck with his stick in a game against the Coyotes when Gretzky was coaching the Coyotes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I've always enjoyed watching Ovechkin play, not just because he was a great goal scorer, but his tenacity to get the puck back, and like he was not afraid to use his physicality. Like he's built like a linebacker. Yeah. He's huge. Like he's a square out there. And he would use that. He would hit people on the wall. And the fact that after his age 30 season, where a lot of guys slowed down, and even Gretzky slowed down scoring goals, Ovechkin just continued to pump pucks into the net is pretty crazy. Bo, I think it's pretty amazing that it was almost 31 years to the day.
Yeah.
Actually, more than that, excuse me. What would it be? 51 years, to the day that Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's
Yeah.
unbreakable home run record. That was on April 8th of 1974.
Sure.
And Ovechkin does this April 6th of 2025. Like, I almost feel like they should have had the Capitals play a game tomorrow and, like, said, hey, just wait another game to get this, so you would do it on the same date. But I think that's pretty cool that almost 51 years apart, those two unbreakable records would have been broken.
Guys, he's got 42 goals in 61 games this year at 39.
And he missed time with a broken leg.
So, I mean, he's only played 61 games. He's got 42 goals. I mean, he's 39 years old. His goal per game numbers are just still staggering. You talked about it since he turned 30. I mean, he's got goal seasons of 49, 51, 48, 50, 42. This one's 42 and counting in just 60 games. It's just going to be a matter of how far out there does he want to put it. There's always been the rumor that he was going to go back to the KHL once he broke this. He wanted to finish his career in Russia. Certainly that he can do whatever he wants. I mean, he's an all-time great, and now he's scored more goals than anybody who's ever lived. So it's just a matter of how far he puts it out there. Matthews is the type of guy that could do it. You mentioned Ovechkin's size. I don't know how many people are aware he's 6'3", 240. Like, he's a mountain of a man. And so you have to have that too. You kind of have to have that physicality to you. Matthews is the one that jumps out to me as potentially could track it down. He's 27, similar build, 6'3", 220. Doesn't have quite the weight, but similar build. Matthews has he's got 398. He's got 400 goals. He's 27. He's obviously already got two over 60 goal seasons. He's got a 69 last year. He's got 30 this year. And again, much like Ovechkin, he's missed a lot. But just to give you a perspective, Matthews, who's kind of the contemporary of Ovechkin in terms of the modern contemporary, I mentioned in 61 games, Ovechkin has 42 goals on the season. In 61 games played, Matthews at age 27 has 30. That's remarkable. That 12 years older, he's delivering at that type of clip. The other big news over the weekend, UConn women's basketball team, boy, it ended up being just a beatdown, 82-59 over South Carolina. The 12th national championship for Gino Auriemma. Saw the stat, the amount of 6 national championships for the UConn men and 10 for the UConn women since 2000. You guys have it in the prep here. 32% of all men's and women's basketball national championships have been won by the University of Connecticut since 2000, which is just impossible to wrap your head around. You could not help but be moved by Paige Beckers, the catastrophic knee injury she suffered a couple of years ago, and she was kind of a Cooper Flagg type thing, identified as a youth player, is going to be on another level. Immediately was great, but then had that catastrophic injury, and you just didn't know if this would ever happen. It had been 10 years since Gino won one. It'd been a while, and they got one done over the weekend and laid some claim there. But it was a beatdown, absolute beatdown game. These two teams played twice this year. UConn won them both by big margins. Numbers good for this as well, guys. It was pretty good numbers this weekend for the women's basketball Final Four.
What are the perfect times? Sunday at 3:00. Like, I remember looking and going, that's on ABC. Like, yes, do that for the men's now. Play tonight in San Antonio and played at like 5:00. Don't do the 8:50 thing.
Yeah, the boys were like, wait, what? Beamsy said that this morning. He's like, wait, this doesn't tip till 8:50? And I know it's been this way for 40 years, but it does suck.
It's actually earlier this year than it has been the past
it's
few.
been in a while, and that's still stupid.
It used to be like 9. There was times it was like 9:07.
Yeah, 9:07. I remember a lot.
Yeah, that's late. Really late. That's still a midnight finish by the time it's all said and done. We'll get you set for Florida and Houston coming up a little bit later on in the program. 2 1 seeds battling for the national championship. All right, coming up next, we blitz the weekend. Second hour of the program, Austin Ward coming up at 10:30 with some perspective on what we saw from the student appreciation practice. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're your radio home for the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. We may have a bit of a football problem. Oh, yeah? The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. Spring weather has arrived, and we all know what that brings. Warmer weather and severe storms. Well, when bad weather hits, we all know it can cause leaky roofs or even damage to your siding and gutters. The Roofing Guys are your local experts in roofing, siding, and gutters and more, providing top quality through every roof, every time. So it's just a small repair, full replacement, or even peace of mind. You need to contact my guys, the Roofing Guys, 614-626-7000, or visit them at theroofingguys.com. That's theroofingguys.com.
Say goodbye to car care headaches with Carvenience from Hinderer Motor Company. This is Justin Hinderer. For only $49, we'll pick up your vehicle, leave you with a rental, and return it fully serviced and spotless. No more juggling your schedule or wasting hours at the shop. Carvenience lets you focus on what matters while we take care of all the rest, making life easier. Schedule your service today at HindererMotorCompany.com.
Hey, it's Leslie from Pella Columbus.
I'm Wilson from that other window place.
Wilson, people are officially going crazy over our sleek, black-framed windows. They change the entire look of a home.
Leslie, nobody believes that just black frames can change the look of a home.
It's like when Superman put on his black-framed glasses and became Clark Kent.
Wait a second. Clark Kent is Superman? Are you messing with me right now?
Get the window that homeowners rated the leading window brand in Columbus at PellaColumbus.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone for Window Nation. April's a great time to spruce up around your house, like getting rid of those old, ugly, drafty, hard-to-open windows and starting fresh. Especially during Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 free sale going on now. There's no limit to how much you could save, and if you buy a house full of windows, they'll include a free entry door, too. Plus, with 0% financing, 0 down, and no monthly payments, you could get new windows and pay nothing until 2027. How do they do it? Well, Window Nation partners with the top window manufacturers in the nation to build windows to their high-quality specs. Then they pass the savings on to you. You'll protect your home with some of the best windows you can buy at a fraction of the price of those other brands. Just imagine what you could do with all that extra money. Hurry, the sale ends soon, so don't miss your chance to take advantage of the Buy 4, Get 4 free and pay nothing until 2027. Schedule your estimate right now at 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com. One more time, that's Buy 4, Get 4 free from Window Nation, 866-90NATION or windownation.com.
Attention kingdom-seeking business professionals, entrepreneurs, and investors in Columbus. Are you ready to experience a life-changing event that will elevate your faith, finances, and future in 2025? Then you won't want to miss this. Join us for Life Search, featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center for an extraordinary one-day event that will empower you to transform every area of your life through the power of faith. Prepare to be inspired by an incredible lineup of champions, including college football champions Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs, 3-time national champion head coach Urban Meyer, sportscaster Kirk Herbstreit, 2-time national football champion Tim Tebow, and more. These champions have experienced firsthand how faith transforms lives, and they'll be joining Life Search to share their powerful stories and insights on how to integrate faith into your business, finances, and every aspect of your journey. Seats are selling fast to this unforgettable event, so don't wait. Head to LifeSurge.com now to secure your tickets before they're gone. Life Search featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center. Don't miss out. Your transformation begins here. Visit LifeSurge.com today.
Get ready to be back in the shoe. The Ohio State Buckeyes football spring game, presented by Union Home Mortgage, kicks off on Saturday, April 12th at noon in Ohio Stadium. Watch as Coach Day and the Buckeyes take the field for an action-packed game day atmosphere. Feel the thrill of game day style reps and the excitement of cheering on our reigning champs. Find out how you can take a photo with a national championship trophy, only available at BuckeyeExperiences.com. Join us for a celebration of Buckeye football and a preview of what's to come this fall. Tickets start at just $8 and are on sale now at OhioStateBuckeyes.com.
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit VividSeats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Who's cutting down the nets this year? Get in on all the tournament action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest upsets to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The big dance wraps up tonight in San Antonio. Florida takes on Houston in the NCAA National Championship. Tip-off from the Alamo Dome is 8:50. You can hear that game on The Fan with coverage after Buckeye Roundtable. The Ohio State football team is wrapping up spring practices this week. Buckeyes will hold the annual spring game this Saturday at Ohio Stadium. Ohio State's head coach Ryan Day will speak with reporters this morning around 11 o'clock. We'll carry those comments live on The Fan when he takes the podium. In the NHL, the Blue Jackets have 6 games left in the regular season. They're 8 points out of the final wildcard spot, and they'll look to halt a 3-game slide tomorrow night, hosting the Ottawa Senators. In baseball, the Reds are at the Giants tonight at 9:40. The Guardians have Monday off. This update sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Earn a $200 cash bonus with a home equity line of credit from BMI FCU. Visit bmifcu.org/home equity.
When General Sherman marched through Georgia, he was listening to this show.
Use your skills for good, young warrior.
This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour on a Monday. As Reese mentioned in the update there, Ryan Day speaking around 11 o'clock on campus. We're going to take those comments live as the spring game is set for Saturday. So get some perspective from Coach on what he saw from the student appreciation practice over the weekend coming up in around an hour, we think, something like that. And we will have those comments for you live between now and then. Let's blitz the weekend.
Bishop and Friends present a Weekend Sports Blitz.
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
All right, I believe I had that. What did you have, Bake?
I believe I had that the UConn women would win the national championship. It seems like a lot of times in women's basketball, the team with the best player wins. And once Juju Watkins went down, Paige Beckers was the best player, unquestioned, in the women's game. She might have even been before Juju Watkins went down. And the other thing, you just don't have a lot of upsets in women's college basketball. Even though UConn was a 2 seed, they were favored all the way. So I kind of figured that UConn would be it.
Why were they a 2 seed? Isn't that weird? In retrospect, like they blasted South Carolina in the regular season. Similar score. I don't understand why they were a 2. It's strange. Go ahead, Reese. What'd you have?
I had that if any team was going to put the clamps on Cooper Flagg and Duke, it'd be Houston. And I think a lot of people had this too because Houston was the best defensive team in the country. But it was the first time Duke had scored less than 70 points in a contest since the end of January. Like, it was a pretty torrid pace that the Blue Devils were on, even through the ACC tournament without Cooper Flagg. And they get into the tournament and they start bombing teams. And Saturday night in San Antonio, boy, they scored like 3 points in 2 minutes. And that young Duke Blue Devil team went up against an older, more mature Houston Cougars team. And at moments when you need to just do simple basketball stuff, the Blue Devils cannot do simple basketball things.
18-year-olds versus 22-year-olds, 21-year-olds. And even when the 18-year-olds are really, really talented, it's hard. And Houston's a team of grown men, quite honestly. I believe I had that while we love the idea of Cinderella, and I do think that it's largely going to be gone from the men's tournament as long as we're in this NIL world, what we really love is to watch greatness. And when you have 4 1 seeds, you got greatness. Those 2 games were great. Florida trailed by 9. Houston trailed by 14. Both won. And they took out, I guess, they're all 1 seed, so it wasn't like it was that crazy of a thing, but those were the 2 teams that kind of seemed like they were head and shoulders above everybody all season long, Auburn and Duke, and it is Florida and Houston that will play tonight. What I believe I had, though, was that the numbers would be huge, and they were. Duke delivers. Flagg was a phenomenon. Huge numbers for the weekend. They'll be down a little bit tonight because no Duke in the game, but still a very impressive weekend. And we like watching greatness, and it was on display this weekend in the Final Four. What did you not have this weekend, Bake?
I did not have that the Jackets would lay an absolute egg in Canada. And that was an egg on the scoreboard and really an egg on the ice.
They weren't competitive, Bake.
No, they weren't, except for a few moments late in games when they were trying to come back. It just wasn't there. The physicality wasn't there. The speed wasn't there. it sure seemed like the 1-2 wasn't there, and I just thought we would see more.
Damn it, Cavs. How are you going to lose to the Sacramento Kings in April? What the heck? Donovan Mitchell goes down with about, 9 minutes left to go in the third quarter with an ankle injury, and it was silent at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. So I guess now it's just the Rocket Arena. But Cleveland ends up losing that game. Donovan Mitchell's day-to-day, because I guess we all are. Feels like you want to just put him on bubble wrap for the playoffs. Cavs have a couple games left, but they can't catch the all-time franchise wins mark of 66. They can't wrap up the number 1 seed in the East with a win tomorrow night against the Chicago Bulls. But damn it.
I did not have the Duke choke job, and credit to Houston for fighting. We've talked about that, but this is a choke job at the highest degree. This is simple stuff. This is inbounding a basketball. This is making sure that the ball gets into good shooters' hands who can knock down free throws. They couldn't do either one of those things, and if they had done either one of them, they would have won the game despite Houston's incredible fight back, but they just could not. I'm going to tell you something. Shire's going to carry this around his neck for a while. They've been doing this one-and-done model for a good bit of time now. Krzyzewski did it towards the end of his era, and now Shire's doing it. They're doing it again next year. They're bringing in the best class in the country. But if you don't have some veterans, some grown men out there with them, and you need a couple of them, this is kind of what can happen. And I think this is going to be a little bit of an albatross around John Shire as well, because this was a choke job. It absolutely was. It's inbounding a basketball. It's hitting free throws. They couldn't do either, and that's how they lost. Player who impressed you the most, Bake?
So I will admit that I had not watched a lot of Duke basketball this year, and even in their tournament run, when they were playing, I thought there were other games that were more interesting to me. But I was super impressed with Cooper Flagg, and I know they lost the game, and down the stretch, it went the way it did. But, man, Houston was all over him, and they could not stop him in that first half. He ends the game with 27.7 rebounds, 4 assists, and as you mentioned, Bo, 8 of 8 from the free throw line. You got to think you'd want to get the ball in his hands more late in the game. Great job of Houston, though, with that defensive pressure. And as I mentioned, I think Cooper Flagg just kind of lost his legs a little bit at the end, was probably a little worn down. But I was super impressed what I saw from that kid.
For me, it's Alexander Ovechkin. In no time in my life have I watched a Washington Capitals game this late in the season that didn't involve the Columbus Blue Jackets. Mm-hmm. But Sunday night, there I am watching the Capitals and the Islanders. Why? Because I wanted to see greatness. And, I mean, he is very short list of all-time points, all-time scorers in sport that I've ever seen. Like any athlete that has ever done the scoring with the ball or the puck, he's up there with them.
Yeah, I'm going to go. We talked a little bit about him. I'm going to go the other side of it. I think Wayne Gretzky had himself a nice weekend. The great one who was at the games, incredibly gracious. He said that he wanted to be the first one to shake Ovechkin's hand when he broke it, and he was. He was on the ice. He had a great moment in the post game in the locker room where he said when he broke the record, he got a Rolls Royce, and apparently he can't do that now because it's a CBA violation that owners can't do it. And then Bettman had to come in and go, "We'll see what we can work out," and because Wayne's like maybe a little special circumstances here, so maybe that gets worked out. I just thought Gretzky shined really brightly this weekend, and what was a really good weekend for hockey. Player who disappointed. What do you got, Bake?
Yeah, Ovi should get all the Russian vodka they can afford to
That's a
give
lot.
him for that.
I don't know if they could afford all the Russian vodka he could drink.
I know it was a great game, but everybody in the Duke-Houston game disappointed me for scoring too many daggone points. I had a parlay.
Yes, you did.
That both legs hit in the Auburn game. And it looked like it was not going to work in the Duke game because Houston was down too much. But they fight all the way back. So I had Houston plus 5.5 in this game. And I had the under, which was 136.5. Well, 70 and 67, that adds up to 137. So you guys, you scored too many damn points.
That sucks, man.
Really, the Blue Jackets, they're all the players that disappointed. But Elvis Merzlikins, for me, it's been very disappointing the last couple of times he's been on the ice, to say the very least.
Yeah, they gotta. That'll be a tricky.
It's a legit question in the offseason.
Well, Elvis wasn't bad yesterday once he came in the game.
Sure, not yesterday.
They're going to be a team of consequence, though. They're going to have to sort those things out. Bootsy, So we go to lacrosse on. We haven't got to play much because the weather's been just god awful. So we finally get a chance to play. Dodge the rain on Saturday. We played all day, and my guy goes to play his first game. His game was at 10. The other boys came later in the day. We're all at one location. My guy brought 2 right-handed gloves to his lacrosse game. So I had to then race out and get another pair of gloves so that he could play. I'm like, dude, how does this even happen? Well, I don't know. Then I say to myself, maybe it's on us because I'm guessing at age 9 we probably supervised the packing of the other two's gear, and we didn't here. So maybe we're the ones that we should be disappointed with more than anything else. 2 right-handed gloves aren't going to do it, though, buddy. Bud Kilmer, Honorary Coach of the Week. Who do you got, Bake?
Man, I feel like there's so many that could be in this category. I'm going to go with Kelvin Sampson, though. For him to get this team to buy in and play defense like that for a full 40 minutes is so impressive. This is a guy that has been close. He's had bites at the apple before, but he's got a chance now to become the oldest head coach to ever win a national championship, his first national championship. I'm kind of rooting for him and hope he does it. He's a guy that's won everywhere he's been. Good job on Kelvin Sampson.
Yeah, I think Kelvin Sampson's the answer. I'm going to give a nod to Wilfried Nancy. The Crew beat Montreal 2-1 over the weekend. They have not lost an MLS match this season. They're 4-3-0. So they got 3 draws, but so far it's been a really great start to the 2025 campaign for the Black and Gold.
I'll go Gino Auriemma here. He gets another national championship. He's 12-1 in national championship games. He is 71 years old. It had been about a decade between championships for him. Really kind of one of these sports dynasties of my lifetime has been UConn women's basketball, and to still do it at now 71, to get one more bite at the apple, maybe his last, kind of feels like maybe it will be, who knows, but an incredible run for him, and it was satisfying to see him and Paige Beckers with everything she's been through. King cut down some nets over the weekend. The men's national championship game is tonight. It is number 1 seed versus number 1 seed. When we watch tonight, we'll be thinking, why aren't we in this game? I'll explain coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Before you start your day, UDF has already started making your breakfast right in our bakery. We've got buttery, flaky croissants baked before the crack of dawn. We're making fluffy buttermilk biscuits from scratch by the time the sun starts to think about rising. And before you hit your first alarm, we've piled our biscuits and croissants high with sausage, egg, and cheese right in store. So come in and grab a fresh one and let us make you a morning person. Fresh baked breakfast sandwiches from United Dairy Farmers. UDF, mornings made for you.
Sometimes you don't realize something was bothering you
until it's gone.
That's how you're going to feel
after we work our magic at your house.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
There's a new way to surround yourself with savings at Giant Eagle and Market District. Shop Giant Eagle's uncompromising quality at a reliable price with everyday savings. Look for signs throughout the store to find bargains on produce, meat, and more. Visit Giant Eagle to see how easy it is to save.
Your home is more than just 4 walls and a roof. It's where life happens, where memories are made, where family gathers, and where you should feel safe. At Newman Roofing, we know that when it's time for a new roof, you want to feel confident that you've hired the right company. One that will install a quality roof and complete the work as promised. But with so many roofing companies out there, how do you know which one to trust? For over 30 years, Newman Roofing has helped more than 7,500 families protect their homes with quality roofing, gutters, and siding. We believe you deserve a company that provides a white glove customer experience, one that pays attention to every detail and treats your home like it's our own. At Newman Roofing, we're not just another roofing company. We're a family-built business that stands behind our work. So when it's time to replace your roof, don't settle for uncertainty. Choose the local family with a reputation for excellence. Choose the company you can trust. Newman Roofing. Call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit us online at newmanroofing.com. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
Spring into a new vehicle at Crown Automotive Group of Dublin.
Luxury, power, and adventure, all waiting for you.
Explore our vast selection of exquisite Mercedes-Benz, the all-new rugged Ineos Grenadier, and the powerful lineup of Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram vehicles. Crown Automotive Group in Dublin is the only dealership in Columbus awarded a J.D. Power Dealer of Excellence for the customer sales experience. Visit Crown Automotive Group of Dublin on Perimeter Drive in Dublin.
Or online at crowncarsdublin.com.
Crown Automotive Group, the better way to buy.
Common
Sean Man and T-Bone here for the ESPN Bet Sportsbook inside Hollywood Casino Columbus. Bone, did you know that the college basketball championship game is coming?
That's right. You want to go to HollywoodColumbus.com to reserve a table and guarantee your spot for that, for the draft watch party, all kinds of good stuff. You know what draft?
What draft?
All the draft.
We can't say it, but it's a big draft.
Plus, with their Tea Time giveaway, you could win a golf cart or $10,000 in pen slot play Sunday, April 27th.
Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Guess what? Our ugly faces are on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan and watch all your favorite shows. Laptop, phone, tablet, smart TV, we're everywhere. Bring us in the bedroom with you. Yes, The Fan.
Does heel pain make you hobble just getting out of bed in the morning? If heel pain is affecting your ability to exercise and meet your walking or running goals, relief is as close as your local podiatrist. Podiatric physicians are highly trained doctors who specialize in medical and surgical treatment of the foot and ankle. Ohio Foot and Ankle podiatric physicians are available across the state and are devoted to providing the highest quality foot and ankle care. For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We'll see mostly sunny skies today and highs getting in the mid to upper 50s, but winds will pick up, which will add that wind chill, so make sure to bundle up. We could see some isolated showers later on in the day, otherwise decreasing clouds overnight. Lows in the 20s with a freeze warning in place that goes overnight into your Tuesday. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfolo with your 10 weather impact forecast.
The two most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants. The pervert and the skivvies. Rockman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan. Producers, co-hosts, friends. Some of those things are true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Indeed you are, and we are proud to be sponsored and brought to you by our great friends at Diamond Cellar, your true jeweler for over 78 years. All right, pop quiz. In what year did the University of Florida make its first NCAA tournament in men's basketball?
It was like 93.
Made their first tournament. 93 is the guess for Reese. Bake?
I'm going to say 98.
So I think because of the way that I phrased it, you both hedged that it was recent.
Later.
Yeah. So it was actually 1986. They made their first NCAA tournament in the 86-87 season. That was the first time the Gators had made the tournament. Lon Kruger got them to a Final Four in the mid-90s, 93, 94. They made a Final Four. And then it's the Billy Donovan era where it goes nuts. It's Sweet 16, runner-up, and then they won the two championships back-to-back in 05, 06, 06, 07. First team to do that since Duke, in the early 90s. And then the Donovan era kind of reaches its conclusion. They hire Mike White after that, after Billy had gone to the NBA in the middle of the 14-15 season. And so Mike White comes on, and then they've been with Todd Golden since. Mike White, they reached the round of 32, Elite Eights, and then inevitably they end up with Todd Golden. Now they'll play for a national championship. The reason I bring it up is because really what Billy Donovan was for Florida basketball, Thad Matta was for Buckeye basketball. And obviously they met for a national championship. And Thad and Billy, in terms of minus the championships, because Florida got both of them and Thad wasn't able to bring that thing home. But other than that, it's very similar, the runs that the two of them have had. And every time I watch Florida basketball play, I can't help but think, why can't Ohio State be that? We had this conversation last week with Adam Jardy, and we talked a little bit about what Buckeye fans should expect of the Buckeye men's basketball team. To me, there's no reason it's not Florida. There's no history that Florida has that you don't. In fact, your history is much, much greater. There's no inherent advantage they have in the state in terms of the talent in the state of Florida that's any different than the talent in the state of Ohio. It's very similar. There's not some pull of we got to go to Florida. It's because of where they develop players. It's just they have delivered in a way that Ohio State basketball has not, and I see no damn good reason for it. Every time I watch them, to me, this is what Ohio State basketball should be. And they're on the precipice of their third national championship in 20 years in a sport that they didn't make the tournament until 86, 87. I mean, it's wild that they're there again. There isn't this crazy basketball history at the University of Florida. There isn't. Billy Donovan kind of created it out of nowhere. But they're here to stay, and this Todd Golden dude's not going anywhere. The makeup of this team is unique. It's an older team. This is a matchup of two very older teams that are playing tonight. But I watch Florida with envy. I'll be candid with you because I think there's no reason that's not what Ohio State is.
I think the same thing about Houston. I go, why can't that be the case? Roster-wise.
I think the roster build maybe, Reese, but so here's the deal with Houston. I want to make sure I get this. Houston Cougars booster. There's the Fertitta, I think is his name. Tillman Fertitta.
Is he like related to the UFC or the former UFC guys?
That I don't know. He is I want to say he's in the hospitality business in the Houston area, but he's a billion. It's Tillman Fertitta is his name. He owns the Rockets, I believe. I think he owns the Houston Rockets as well.
That's the same because, those Fertitta brothers that were involved in the UFC owned the Houston Rockets too.
So who are these? I don't know the UFC part of it. Help me.
So, so they're the guys that Dana White. So Dana White went to school with one of the Fertitta brothers. Okay. And they're the ones that Dana White went to say, hey, we should buy this.
Okay. So they own casinos. They own restaurants, Landry Seafood. They own hotels. They own all this stuff. This Tillman Fertitta is the guy who owned it. He's 67. He's actually the U.S. ambassador to Italy as it stands right now. But what he did, he's the reason that Dana Holgerson left West Virginia to go to Houston. Remember that when they paid Dana Holgerson all that money to leave West Virginia? He's part of the reason Kelvin Sampson's there, and he has put a ton of money into the University of Houston program. So it's like a singular benefactor of the program. Whereas Florida is more of a Ohio State approach to building a roster, whereas Houston was like, hey, man, we got one dude who's willing to – this is really important to him, and so he's got us locked in. Go ahead, Reese.
I was going to say, so Tillman is the second cousin to former UFC owners Lorenzo and Frank Fertitta. So that family has a lot of money, but he's second cousin.
Okay. All right. There you go on that front. So the Houston thing is a little bit more of kind of an SMU thing where you have one guy who's like, yeah, this is really important to me. The Florida thing is something that Ohio State ought to be able to copy absolutely, though. And there's no reason not to have a similar success and expectation that the University of Florida has for its basketball team. I imagine that this will be a great game tonight. These two teams seem very, very evenly matched. Florida is chasing its third national championship all time, the third in the last 25 years. Houston has more Final Four appearances without a championship than anybody else, which is pretty remarkable because most of it happened way back. They lost a national championship game to Georgetown, and then they're the ones who lost. That's Jimmy Valvano. That's the walk-off shot back in the mid-'80s when Houston lost to NC State in the most improbable way. That's Akeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler, Phi Slamma Jamma, all of that. Kelvin Sampson, though, has been knocking on the door for a long time, a lot of 30-win seasons. He's been around a lot. We talked about his time at Indiana and what he was building there before that got kind of rerouted a little bit. He would be the oldest coach to win a national championship if they get it done tonight. Here's Kelvin Sampson on that.
When you're pressing 70, you look at things a lot differently. I mean, you're grown up now. You're 70. I spent a little time this morning with my grandkids. The first time I went to the Final Four in 2002, my son was on the team, or he's on the bench with us. So over the years, things kind of come full circle in some ways. So for me, it's a lot of gratitude, a lot of appreciation for having this opportunity. But you owe it to so many people. You don't do things like this in a vacuum. I've got a great team, got a great staff. I'm able to work independent of everything, and I run the program without any resistance. I make all the decisions. I do everything on my own. So, with my staff, of course. So, we've kind of done it our way, and it's worked out pretty good.
Go ahead, Reese. You're chuckling.
Well, I just the last line he threw in there, and then I think tried to correct himself. He's like, but I mean just with the staff.
Did you see the picture of his staff in front with the basketball team seated in front? There's if there's 13, 14 kids on the basketball team, there's 25 staff. Like his family's part of the staff, all of it. But that's what happens when you answer to one booster and you deliver the way that he has. You don't really answer to anybody, right? So he's 69, trying to be the oldest coach to win a national championship. Todd Golden is 39. He was the guy, and the story was told over the weekend, that Bruce Pearl identified, put him on his staff. Then he went to San Francisco for 3 years. He's in his third year in Gainesville now, playing for a national championship. Last year, they were bounced in the first round, I do believe. They were bounced in the first round last year. This year, 35-4, playing as good and as hot as anybody. Here's Golden on what they've built so quickly at Florida.
It's pretty incredible, man. You know, we worked pretty hard to get here, and in 3 years, been fortunate to build a great staff that is aligned and that works really hard for each other. And then we've just accumulated a great group of guys, you know, in our roster. You know, it took a little bit to get all these pieces together, but, you know, to a man, they all pull the same direction. There's no unselfishness in our locker room. You know, you see a guy like Walt, he gets asked all the questions and gets all the attention for a great effort like tonight, but there's no animosity there. There's nobody, you know, concerned about that. These guys are just trying to win a championship, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of what our program is, and, you know, the strides that we've made over these past couple of years.
Also a great example, Walter Clayton Jr., who scored more points than anybody at the University of Florida in the postseason, is a fourth-year player. His first 2 seasons he played at Iona. And that's a little bit about what college basketball is at the moment. Real quick, who do you got? Who do you got tonight, Bake?
Well, I'm going to stick with Florida since that's what I've had in my bracket all along. But gosh, that Houston defense is really good.
Yeah, I'm going to go Houston.
Yeah, I'd probably roll with Houston as well. Their overall depth and just a lot of grown men on that team. Some grown men showed out on Saturday. Austin Ward with his perspective from a very big student appreciation scrimmage coming up next in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Huntington is banking that just clicks. Like asterisk-free checking with no monthly maintenance fee, no matter what. It's your money, right? So keep more of it. Make the switch today at huntington.com/yourmoney.
Buying a home used to feel like a complete headache. Listings here, pre-approval there, financing somewhere else. Now, Rocket is giving every home one address. Rocket.com. A single seamless homeownership platform to help you find, buy, sell, finance, and refinance your home. Everything you need, all under one roof. Visit Rocket.com, the new home for all things homeownership. Rocket. Own the dream.
Welcome, John, our new admin lead.
Thanks.
You've got your laptop, all your admin apps. Oh, and you'll be in charge of ordering food for the team. So here's your drawer full of menus.
Whoa.
You'll keep your receipts in this file folder. Whoops! Receipt confetti.
Oh, dear.
Oh, and all these sticky notes have everyone's dietary preferences.
Have you tried Easy Cater? Online ordering from great restaurants, tools to save time and stay on budget, digital receipts in one place.
We're gonna need a bigger recycling bin.
Easy Cater, the smarter, simpler way to order food for your workplace. Order now at easycater.com.
Why are we quizzing kids on dinosaurs?
Comedian Sam Morrill, The Errors Tour.
Some cop pulls me over. He's like, what kind of dinosaur?
Live at Davidson Theater, April 10th.
I'm like, a Stegosaurus? He's like, step out of the vehicle.
Get tickets now at kappa.com.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, spring game set for Saturday. Student appreciation scrimmage practice over the weekend. For some perspective on all of this, we had on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Our good buddy Austin Ward, Dotting the I's, joining us there. Buddy, thank you so much for taking the time. First of all, most importantly, what's your best guess on when Ryan hits the podium, just for my own selfish purposes today?
I think this segment is going to be fine. I think I'm not going to make too bold of a prediction. I think I got it right on the money last week.
Yeah.
Nobody's moving in the hallway right now. I'm out here by myself.
Okay.
So I think maybe 11 should be safe, but we did get a warning for 10:45. I think I'm gonna bet closer to the schedule.
Closer to the schedule. All right. So 11 seems to be the sweet spot, which it would be for us as well. All right. Here's the thing about a quarterback competition, and I mentioned this earlier in the show. Ohio State incredibly gracious with the amount that they allow for us to see. And you guys who are on the beat and covered it, they actually let you see a lot. There's a lot of programs that don't show you quite as much and certainly don't have the availabilities that Ohio State has. So very appreciative of all of that. But you are also limited to the things that you do see. This isn't an NFL camp where you can watch every practice and see all of it. So when we do, we tend to make big leaps based on what we see. What did you see Saturday at the quarterback position?
What I saw on Saturday, and as you said, we tend to make big leaps. I'm actually trying, and I told you this a couple weeks ago, trying to be better. If I'm going to compare people, I'm going to compare them to what I've seen of themselves before and not try to jump to conclusions about how it's going to end based on one day. On that day, Saturday, which was great, in addition to not just like having some scrimmage periods to watch with the students in there, with the media as well, it was like live quarterback reps because Ohio State is trying to get these guys ready for a game outside of, the 3 quarters that Lincoln Keynotes was forced into and some garbage time mop-up snaps for Julian saying these guys don't have anything of terms of high-level football and physicality and speed of the game and competition. So Ryan Day has ramped some of that up on the practice field, and seeing that was great. Now, if you asked me who I thought had the best performance on Saturday, I would say Lincoln Keenholz. Does that mean that he was pulling ahead of Julian Sayin, or that he is ahead, or that there's a depth chart? Nope, I wouldn't say that. There were bright moments for all of them. There were moments that were not ideal for all of them. Lincoln Keenholz included. But I think if there's been a notion, and if we're working under the assumption that Julian Sayin, with his accuracy, with his decision-making, with the quick release, with the recruiting reputation, that the job is eventually his, I would still probably agree with that. But the notion that Lincoln Keenholz is not capable of competing or pushing or being the starting quarterback for Ohio State, I think it's probably time for anybody who feels that way to consider another alternative, which is that this guy is incredibly athletic. He's got the rushing and athleticism ability, dual threat ability that I think could be a difference maker. And he's, now into year 3 in the system. And I think you can tell with some of the poise that he's shown, the maturity that he has, the decision to stick through this battle, that he believes he's in it. And I think Ohio State does too.
It's funny because these two kids couldn't have come from more different circumstances. And I'm not even just talking about like the climate. I just mean like you come from South Dakota, rural South, you spent time in Wyoming. I grew up in Montana. Like you grew up in a state like that. You're the best athlete. You play everything because you have to.
Yeah.
There aren't enough. So you play everything. And he did. Meantime, Julian was identified early and has been preparing for this probably for as long as he can remember. So like, the circumstances that get these two kids to this spot, my friend, could not be more different, which I think almost adds to how fascinating it is.
Yeah, it really does. And I think that's the fascinating dynamic, more specifically with tracking the progress and the development of Lincoln Keenholz, is that, he did not get the benefit of early enrollment for one. And, I think the level of competition, of course, that he was facing in South Dakota is going to be nowhere near what, the 7-on-7 circuits or, anything else provide. And then the year-round coaching and instruction, Lincoln Keenholz was dunking basketballs and hitting home runs and, doing all these other things that wasn't just involved with 12 months out of the year focusing on quarterback. And that's that's just a statement of fact there. I think the level of education that he is going to get and the level of physical development is very different for him now. And he, I think, is making the most of that. What does it mean by the late August? I don't know, but I think that there are things that he's doing that you can point to that's like, okay, wow, once you have this opportunity and he has been patient, he has done everything that's been asked of him, and you're starting to see the results, whether that is as a backup, whether that is as a starter, whether that is in a part-time role, I don't know how it'll end, but Lincoln Kienholz absolutely is valuable, and I would say like very valuable to Ohio State in any one of those spots.
Here's the thing that's tricky about all of this is that you have, I mean, you and I are, we're not in the program. The reality is though, is like you want them all here, right? But then there's also this fine line of like portal April 16th. At some point you want to play, but you also want to be patient, and you can't put yourself in the mind of Lincoln Kienholz or his folks or Julian Sayin and his folks or any of it, right? Yeah. You have no idea what the thought process is there. But obviously Ryan wants them all, and he probably might still add a veteran in the portal too. He could do that too, and maybe very likely would. What do you when you talk to folks around the sport, and you're as close to it as anybody, pal? What level of truth serum is there for athletes that are in the spot that we're in with two quarterbacks that are essentially, well, not exactly the same age, eligibility-wise they are? Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the kid, on the situation. I think there's a notion nationally that people look at this spring for Ohio State and they say, well, if it's one or the other, then the other can't stay. And, if we're talking truth serum for Lincoln Kienholz specifically, I simply just don't agree with that. Now, those are conversations that I've had with him, and I think some of the intricacies and details of that we can certainly keep private. But the opportunities for him, I think, were far greater to go learn a new program, new starting offense, new playbook, new teammates in December and January than they would be in April. And maybe that can change, but my sense was, and anything can change at any time in this world, and we've made that point on every Monday since this started 5 years ago. Right. But I think it was a 12-month decision and not a 3-month decision. Now we'll see if that winds up being the case, but I don't believe that Julian Sayin, Lincoln Kienholz, or even Tavian St. Clair came in to the first day of practice and said, we got to have absolute clarity. We got to have a depth chart, and we got to have a decision by the end of April, because there was not going to be enough football for Ryan Day, for Billy Fessler, for Brian Hartline to get to that point. And I strongly believe all three of them understand and recognize that fact. And if I wind up being wrong about that in 2 weeks, then we'll talk about it then. Yeah, absolutely. All right, anything else jump out to you from Saturday outside of the quarterbacks? Yeah, I told you that the thing I really was wanting to see on Saturday was how, the depth and I think the high-end talent, the starting lineup for the defensive line, I think there's not reason to be concerned about that. It is how many bodies are going to be ready to contribute for the length of the season, for the number of snaps that Ohio State has to get through. There have been a couple guys that have flashed, and sometimes that can be a dirty word for the coaching staff. That means that they're not doing it consistently. But Dominic Kirk's at defensive end was not someone that I had really considered a lot here. And I've only seen the two, acclimation practices on Saturday, but quarterbacks were live. Guy makes a sack. A lot of people are going to notice that and pay attention. That was coming a couple days after having his black stripe removed. So you're seeing, someone like that take a next step. You're seeing, Jason Moore at defensive tackle, starting to come along in a way that should be really encouraging. I don't know that it changes what the need for Ohio State might be for the position just to get through the season. But those are the guys, the kind of guys that need to step up and fill the void. It's not just that you're replacing that top four with Jack, JT, Ty, and Ty. You have, depth pieces that need to be able to supplement that up front. And I don't think that the work is done there, but I think that there is clear progress that you can see heading into the last week. And I think you have to be encouraged if you're Larry Johnson in that situation. Won't talk to you again until next Monday after the spring game. Just from your perspective, what do you want to see? What are you most excited to see Saturday in the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think the intrigue is always still going to be about the quarterbacks. And I think when we're looking at, I don't want to take it back to the start of the segment necessarily, Bo, but when we get a couple opportunities back to back, that makes it a little bit easier, or at least helpful, to compare. All right, well, is that same mistake made from last Saturday to this Saturday. And I don't know if the situations will all be the same. I don't know if there will be live periods for those quarterbacks again or not. But, it's trying to track the progress and then compare that. How does Lincoln compare on Saturday to last Saturday? How does Julian Sam, take the challenge from last Saturday to this Saturday and grow? It's always going to be easier in these situations because I don't think they're going to do a lot of inside run drill. I don't think they're going to be taking guys to the ground nearly as much on the last day of spring. It will be a bit more of a showcase still, in my opinion, even with the name change. So, looking at what happens, configuration in the secondary, who's going to be the primary nickel. I think replacing Jordan Hancock is still at the top of the priority list for this team defensively. So that stuff is playing itself out. I don't think it will get anything that we could put down in concrete by Saturday, but I think we're going to have the pencils ready to build into this offseason with a lot more information.
You're the best, pal. Talk to you again next week. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, you got it. See you, Bo.
All right, there he goes. Austin Ward on the Buckeye Beat at Dotting the I's and available courtesy of the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. A little thing or not a thing coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed's Sponsored Jobs feature helps you stand out and hire fast. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Stop by Columbus Equipment in Columbus, Dayton, or Toledo to see their full line of Kubota construction equipment, or check them out online at ColumbusEquipment.com.
This is big. Rent-A-Center's biggest discount is on. From April 6th to April 12th, take 50% off the total cost to own on all items in-store or online, only at Rent-A-Center. 50% off offer reduces the total amount necessary to acquire ownership pursuant to rental purchase agreement. Offer valid on new agreements entered into April 6, 2025 through April 12, 2025. Participating locations only.
Hi, Kevin. How's my engine doing?
Well, you tell me, little lady.
What?
Ma'am, an engine is delicate. It's got a lot of parts rubbing together.
Oh, is that so?
Lube her up real nice and she'll purr like a kitty cat.
How do you know so much about engines?
Well, I spent a lot of time under that hood.
Babe, she is running hot. Let's go. And next time, I get to play the mechanic.
Rev up the romance with Lion's Den, the official store of pleasure, passion, and romance.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Buy 2 windows, get 2 free. No limit. Pay no interest till 2030 plus $500 off your home improvement project. Restrictions apply. Call them today. 614-502-5220. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Skyline nachos are back, and now there's a spicy version. Get them with Skyline's cheddar or habanero cheese, topped with fiery jalapeno slices. But hurry, Skyline's regular and new spicy nachos are only at participating restaurants for a limited time.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Can I get Mega Millions?
Good choice. Mega Millions is bigger than ever. Jackpots now start at $50 million and grow faster.
Sounds mega.
And now, every game has a built-in multiplier, so all non-jackpot prizes are multiplied between 2 and 10 times.
Bigger prizes, better odds, and just $5? Give me 2.
Mega Millions is bigger and better than ever. Get your tickets today at your local Ohio lottery retailer. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Much like a vampire, we need to be invited into your house. But once we're in, we never leave. Listen to The Fan on your Alexa or Google Home smart speaker. Just say play 97.1 The Fan and prepare to be amazed. Do it now.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and, of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
The Fan Poll is brought to you by Caster Connection. Visit CasterConnection.com to shop online or to work with our Caster Solution specialists.
Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing and not a thing on a Monday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
We'll get into this a little more after Ryan Day speaks around 11 o'clock. But after Colorado's Pro Day on Friday, the Titans reportedly met with Shedeur Sanders and canceled an upcoming private workout. This from a Titans beat reporter, actually, who works for TennesseeTitans.com. The Titans have seen 4 years of game film, scouted multiple games, and now attended a pro day they described as very impressive. Titans have the number 1 overall pick in 17 days in the NFL draft. Thing or not a thing?
I'm going to say not a thing. I think that the tweet kind of says it all from Jim Wyatt when he said the Titans have seen 4 years of game film, scouted multiple games, have now attended a pro day. They probably met with him on more than one occasion, probably at the pro day, maybe in Boulder last week as well. I think they know. The notion that these teams don't know what they're doing at the top of the draft, like the Browns and the Titans, they know what they're doing at the top of the draft. There's no decisions that need to be made. If you don't know by now, then you got much bigger problems. So I think they know who they're picking at number 1. They could be trying to play some games with the Browns a little bit. With the number 1 overall pick, like come and get it and see what they can do, maybe something like that. But I think this is largely just gamesmanship.
Yeah, I don't think this is a thing at all. Like you said, Bo, what are they going to learn if they have a private workout and meeting with Shedeur Sanders? I don't think they're going to learn anything that they don't know already. And it's been kind of the buzz here the last couple weeks that Cam Ward was their guy. So why waste everyone's time?
Speaking of, I don't want to do this to the college basketball crown. Congrats to Nebraska. Cornhuskers won the inaugural event on Sunday. Nebraska gets $300,000 in NIL funds for the win. UCF gets $100K as the runner-up. It's their first postseason basketball tournament win since Nebraska won the 1996 NIT. Thing or not a thing?
I think that whoever is running the college basketball crown ought to hire you to be the hype man and commissioner, because I don't know anyone on the planet who has talked about the college basketball crown more than you have, my friend. You have been locked into this. You made me aware of this like a year ago.
You're welcome.
I was not aware. I did not watch a second of this. I could not have cared less. It would have been impossible for me to have cared less about this. I did not even know who played in it until you just read it. I had no clue. I watched not 1 second of this. I'm guessing I wasn't alone on this front. I think one of the things they really missed on this was the notion that teams would turn them down. I think they really thought that people would want to play in this thing. And the reality is maybe teams did want to play in it. Teams like Ohio State, for an example, as a team that would have played in something like this. But the reality is they didn't have a roster. So they really miscalculated like what was happening in the sport that you had. We just found out over the weekend Devin Royal's finally coming back. But I mean, it was Friday, it was Bruce Thornton. So like you're putting a roster together. You can't compete for something like this. And I feel like they really blew it in terms of not understanding how the calendar of the sport works while trying to make a television show that my guess is nobody watched.
Hold on, what is this?
Yeah.
The inaugural college basketball crown is a 16-team postseason tournament.
He loves it.
Gus Johnson was on the call yesterday for Nebraska UCF, and he was like, this tournament will be around for a while, folks. Big Red.
So you watched it?
I mean, some of it.
Wow. I mean, I did but we talk about all the time, like how could the college football playoff go up against NFL games?
Yeah.
How can you have this tournament go up against Final Four weekend? It makes no sense. So you do it after the transfer portal window opens when teams aren't going to have a roster, and then you put it up against the Final Four. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, brutal.
This was over the weekend as well. 4-star running back Deshaun Rideau, I hope I said his name correct, committed to USC in an Instagram video that included Snoop Dogg. His father, Russell, told CBS Sports that the collaboration with Snoop, quote, reflects that Rideau is focused on landing somewhere he can develop into a superstar both on and off the field, facilitating opportunities to build his brand in this age of NIL. Adding, quote, in the current environment, another thing we look for is what the surrounding cities and fan base can provide in terms of off-field exposure and building that brand. The 5'10", 195 Rideau is the 5th highest ranked back in the class of 2026 and California's top-ranked rusher. Thing or not a thing?
How do you coach these kids? How do you get them to listen to you? Can you coach anybody hard? I mean, how do you when you have a dad telling CBS now this kid's he's a number 1 running back in California, so he's a very good player. 5'10", 195 is going to be a problem playing in the Big Ten. But telling CBS that it reflects that Rideau is focused on landing somewhere he can develop into a superstar both on and off the field, facilitating opportunities also to build his brand in this age of NIL. I don't know how you coach these kids. And this year it's going to be probably, depending on what happens today with the House ruling, everything that I've been hearing around the NIL world is that the price is through the roof right now, because it's like the last time that they think maybe it'll be ungovernable. So, for example, like transfer basketball players at the highest end are getting like $5 million to play college basketball next year. Like, that's kind of what's happening out there right now. So I'm guessing that's happening in recruiting too. This is the last like kind of really huge monster bite at the apple in the recruiting before they get some sort of regulation on this. We'll see. But when I read those comments, I remember Urban years ago talking about, you got to work with Uncle and all these folks who want a little taste of it. Now there's real money and it's a real taste. And I don't know, like when things go wrong, and I don't know this kid at all, so I'm not jumping to conclusions on what he is other than based on this sentence from the father that's quoted. How do you coach this kid? You remember that Kara Lawson clip where she says, handle hard better, that went viral a couple years ago? Right? It's hard. Life's hard. Is it? If you got $1.5 million from USC to commit, is it hard? How do you coach hard? I don't know. I don't know how you do it.
I think it's a thing that we're probably going to be seeing more of as kids try to capitalize on NIL and other opportunities outside of the sports world. I feel like it's a good thing for Ohio State to push, hey, you want a career in media? You can go work at the Fan.
A baseball contract that was reported on late last night, early this morning. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the Blue Jays agreed to a 14-year, $500 million contract extension. None of that money is going to be deferred. It's the second largest deal in baseball history in terms of its present-day value. Juan Soto signed that 15-year, $765 million contract. Vlad Guerrero Jr.'s contract does surpass Shohei Ohtani's because Ohtani and the Dodgers are just kicking that money so far down the road. He was set to become a free agent after this season. He's 26 years old, and this is his 7th year with the Toronto Blue Jays. Thing or not a thing?
Really cool thing. I'm glad he's staying in Toronto. He is responsible for one of my really cool in-person Major League Baseball moments where he didn't win the home run derby up in Cleveland when they had it there a couple of years ago, but he definitely won the night. Like, he hit bombs. And he had one round that was just unbelievably captivating. So glad he's staying in Toronto, and that's obviously a big chunk for a kid who was identified young. His dad was a stud, and he is as well. So good job out of him.
Yeah, it's a big thing for Toronto. You got to hope that this kid stays healthy, though, and hope he continues to mash, because that's an awful lot of money for a guy that's kind of a one-dimensional player.
Always remember, Bake, they don't offer it if they can't afford it. That's always there. Ryan Day, we anticipate being at the podium at the Woody Hayes coming up next. We will have it for you live. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We've been your Jackets flagship station since day one. All the goals, all the action, all the memories. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Before you start your day, UDF has already started baking your breakfast. We're making biscuits and croissants in our bakery served with sausage, egg, and cheese before you hit your first alarm. Fresh baked breakfast sandwiches from United Dairy Farmers. UDF, mornings made for you.
At Meijer, we work hard to bring more locally grown goodness to life with a farm-fresh selection of crisp vegetables and juicy, ready-to-eat fruit. Whether topping off kebabs on the grill or adding healthy color to a leafy green salad, your family will definitely enjoy the delicious taste of Meijer produce. Plus, you'll appreciate the selection and savings we have to offer. That's the fresh-picked good life, priced for real life. We work hard to make life a good deal better at Meijer.
Hey, it's Leslie from Pella Columbus.
I'm Wilson from that other window place.
When you buy from Pella, you could meet Brad, Bob, maybe Mike, or 54 others that make our local Pella team so awesome.
And if you buy from me, you'll get to meet me.
Just a one-man operation, Wilson?
I've got a bunch of cousins helping me, but based on their work, I'm not sure they've got thumbs.
Get the window that homeowners rated the leading window brand in Columbus at PellaColumbus.com.
It's a different world today than it was 30 years ago when I started Care Heating and Cooling. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, 30 years ago, you were the first to warn of companies using service technicians as salespeople, of abusing the trust that a service technician has. With the big conglomerates now buying companies all over Central Ohio, this has become the normal business model.
It's all about greed. The conglomerates know they can make a lot more money by incentivizing their technicians to sell furnaces instead of fixing them. They train their techs to take advantage of a customer when they are the most vulnerable.
Dad, that is not how we were taught. In 2024, Care Heating and Cooling was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
This is big. Rent-A-Center's biggest discount is on. From April 6th to April 12th, take 50% off the total cost to own on all items in-store or online, only at Rent-A-Center. 50% off offer reduces the total amount necessary to acquire ownership pursuant to rental purchase agreement. Offer valid on new agreements entered into April 6, 2025 through April 12, 2025. Participating locations only.
Buying a home used to feel like a complete headache. Listings here, pre-approval there, financing somewhere else. Now, Rocket is giving every home one address. Rocket.com. A single seamless homeownership platform to help you find, buy, sell, finance, and refinance your home. Everything you need, all under one roof. Visit Rocket.com, the new home for all things homeownership. Rocket. Own the dream.
Welcome, John, our new admin lead.
Thanks.
You've got your laptop, all your admin apps. Oh, and you'll be in charge of ordering food for the team. So here's your drawer full of menus.
Whoa.
You'll keep your receipts in this file folder. Whoops, receipt confetti.
Oh, dear.
Oh, and all these sticky notes have everyone's dietary preferences.
Have you tried EasyCater? Online ordering from great restaurants, tools to save time and stay on budget, digital receipts in one place.
We're gonna need a bigger recycling bin.
EasyCater, the smarter, simpler way to order food for your workplace. Order now at easycater.com.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on retirement contributions, a very handsome reward indeed. With Robinhood Gold, your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3%. Plus, you also get 4% APY on your cash and non-retirement accounts. That's over 8 times the national savings average. The perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% IRA boost on annual contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rates subject to change. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Over 8 times the national average savings account interest rate claim is based on data from the FDIC as of November 18th, 2024. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. This update sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Enjoy rates as low as 9.90% APR plus a special rate on balance transfers with a Visa Platinum credit card from BMI FCU. Ohio State's head coach Ryan Day is speaking with reporters. We take you now to the Woody Hayes Athletic Center.
It's been, 3 guys getting after it every day, improvement across the board. There's been good days on all fronts, but then there's been other days not so good. They're growing, they're learning. There's nobody that's that much further ahead of the other one right now, so they're going to continue to compete, and this is a big week for them, and Saturday will be a big day for them as well, get in front of everybody and have an opportunity to compete.
Folks, we can keep it to one question. Dave Biddle, 24/7 Sports.
Speaking of QB competitions, you were here a little over a year and you had to deal with Joe Burrow versus Dwayne Haskins. How nerve-wracking was that for you at the time, and how has that helped you, in subsequent QB competitions?
It's nerve-wracking when you don't have a quarterback. It's a good problem when you have a room full of quarterbacks, and that's part of the process is finding the right one and trying to do the best decision you can. And there's a lot that goes with it. And in that situation, had 2 great quarterbacks, and they both had great careers. So that's not the one that's as nerve-wracking. When nerve-wracking is when you don't have one. So. But yeah, every year there's just been a different challenge. Figuring out who that guy's going to be, and figuring out where their growth takes them. This is a situation where you have Lincoln, who's been here now for 3 years, and Julian, just for a year, and then Tavian just showed up. So all at 3 different points of their career, but all still learning and growing. None of them really have a ton of significant playing experience. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I think that there's been good play. There's been mistakes made, but that's part of growing. Now the question is, are you going to continue to make the same mistakes over and over again? That's when, we start to get nervous. But right now, we're still kind of in that growth phase and learning phase.
Andy Andrews, Left Warriors.
I know. I'm sure it's similar on the offensive line, still in that learning and growing phase. But we've seen, obviously, Austin Searville work plenty of tackle, and he was with the ones at that position on Saturday. How much of a factor is he in that right tackle competition? Yeah,
I think Austin's had a very good spring. He's been playing multiple positions, and I think he's a true swing player who can do both guard and tackle, and he's shown to be able to do that. And a part of that is being able to handle it mentally, making that jump. And, so he's been doing a good job of that. And like we talked about in here before, having a primary position and then a secondary position is something that we've focused on. He's getting to the point where I think he could start at either guard or tackle.
Steve Hellweg, 24/7 Sports.
Yeah, Coach, obviously we just saw a snippet of the 12 days that you've had so far the other day, but it was hard to not notice what Lincoln Keynotes was doing. Just your, assessment of him and what's been good, what does he need to continue to work on, and is he in the thick of this right now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You saw his potential on some of the throws that he made. You saw his athleticism show. We did, at a point, make the quarterbacks live, I think, which is the first time we've ever done that, I've ever done that. But I felt like it was important for them. And that was good to see them, move in the pocket and understand what live bullets are going to be like. And I think that's behind us now, but we got that in, and that was good. But I think that Lincoln, and I think it's the same for all the quarterbacks. We're trying to make the routine plays routinely, and I know you've heard me say that before, but that's really important to keep the offense moving. And we have good skill players, we have good pieces around them. If they can just keep the offense on track on first and second down, and then play good, smart football on third down, make the throws in a red zone, and then when it's time to win the game in a 2-minute drill, like that's when they have to be special. Right now, we're to the point where we just need to make routine plays routinely. We've seen them make this spectacular. We need them to make routine plays and be consistent. Sometimes that can be boring, but that's playing the position of quarterback. And all it takes is 1 or 2 plays to ruin your entire day. You know, we've been there before. You know, where a quarterback can play really, really good, but 1 play could ruin the entire afternoon in the game. So, you know, I'm kind of bouncing around on you, but with Lincoln, I think that's the case. But it's like that with all the quarterbacks.
Jake Trotter, ESPN.
Yeah, Ryan, what's your expectation with Jeremiah in year 2, and where can he continue to develop and grow given how young he still is?
I think everybody on the team is at a different point, and that was the message today to the team, that everybody has to continue to get better when they're on the field. Now, where is, you know, Jeremiah as opposed to, you know, Tavian St. Clair or Devin Sanchez? They're different points, but, you know, for Jeremiah, it's like, how do I get that 1% better every day? And a lot of it is, you know, learning how to become a good teammate, learning how to, you know, encourage other guys around him to play winning football, which he does, but you're starting to see him come out of his shell a bunch. You know, he's done some route work inside in the slot, which is, you know, mostly he was outside last year. We're going to increase his route tree as time goes on. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that he can improve on, certainly, but getting more and more experience is part of it, but also just, you know, growing into his position and his personality on the team.
Tony Bergman, Buckeye Huddle.
Ryan, what did Quincy Porter do to be the first freshman to lose his black stripe?
He was productive. He made a lot of contested catches. You guys were able to see that. We've seen a lot of that leading up to this point, and, you know, we don't like to get those black stripes off too early for the freshman, but he earned it, especially in a competitive live day like that, to make some of those catches. And he had a couple of catches before you guys even got in there that day that kind of lit up the group. So I like just how gritty he was, how competitive he was, and he's showing toughness, again, making those contested physical catches. And so if he can keep playing like that, he's going to find himself playing a lot of football this year.
Pat Murphy.
Ryan, going back to Jeremiah, we saw the students just mob to him afterwards. I imagine off the field he's dealing with the stardom that comes with what he accomplished last year. How do you help him manage that side of things while also doing, you know, the on-field stuff that you just talked about?
Well, Jeremiah is a fairly private person, so that is in his favor. But we've talked about it, and, you know, every time a situation like this comes up, we need to have a plan. C.J. Barnett has a big part in this, and, you know, we talked about that, and we spoke with Jeremiah even for that event there, what the plan was. You know, he's become obviously just kind of a complete lightning rod. I mean, you see him and it's just, you know, everybody lights up, because not only what type of player he is, but who he is as a person. He's got that smile that just lights up a room, and he's just magnetic personality. So, you know, all the recruits, when they come in, you ask them, so who'd you like at practice? You know, every single one of them say Jeremiah Smith. But I think with him, it's not just the ability of what he does on the field, it's how he works. It's his personality, his humility, all those things. So, but to answer your question, yeah, I mean, we have to put a plan together. You know, he's in the city of Columbus. He's one of the most high-profile players, you know, in the country, and certainly one of the most high-profile people in the state of Ohio now. And that's really the reality. So putting that in place, and I know fans respect that. You know, he's also still just, you know, a young man trying to find his way, and he is. You know, when you look at him, you don't think of it like that, but he is. And so we put a good plan together to make sure that he has what he needs.
Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Row.
Right, 2 years ago, you guys had Cody as like a third linebacker to help out the defense. Last year was Arvell. With Peyton, it seemed like every time he looked up, he was making a play around the ball. Do you see that for him this year? What kind of impact can he have in your guys' defense?
Yeah, I think Peyton Pierce is thriving right now with, you know, having James and having Matt there. Matt certainly has a great background in linebacker play, and, you know, just some of the new things and some of the schemes and techniques that are going on. You know, he's a guy that understands football at a high level. He's a great tackler. He was a high school wrestler. He can really see it. And, you know, I think he's really coming into his own. He was coming off an injury, coming out of high school, getting here, and then you know, you have that freshman year. Now he's got a whole off season to really train, and he's playing well here. So he's seeing things well. He's playing fast, and this is another guy that's going to have a big impact for us this year.
Dylan Davis, Delaware Gazette.
Going back to the quarterback, I just want to follow that up. You said that none of them have much of a gap. Is there a gap at all, even if it's small? Do you feel like one guy is, I don't say leading the race, but he's done enough to say, like, hey, he's put his best foot forward?
I think it's fair to say that Tavian has probably the longest way to go just because of just the lack of experience. I think it's easy to see, you guys saw it on Saturday, the talent and his ability to run, his athleticism, the arm. He has all those things. He just needs to play more. He needs to see it more. The game's just moving really fast for him right now, but he's picking it up. He's getting it every day. So I'd say he probably has the farthest way to go, and then Lincoln and Julian are pretty much neck and neck right now.
Austin Moore, Rivals.
Ryan, when you made that decision to let them go live, I think you may have done that another practice before Saturday. That's a calculated risk and one you've said you never wanted to take before. Why was that different this time? What was the thought process to get there? Did you have to take a deep breath?
Yeah. Well, I think all three of them needed it for different reasons. I'll start with Tavian. Tavian, coming in and seeing the speed of all this. We're not going to do it in the preseason, so this was really about the only time we could do it. And I felt like he needed to feel the speed of the game, because the first time is going to be against Texas. And if the first game wasn't Texas, I don't know if we would do it, but it is, so we got to be ready. Lincoln, other than the bowl game, he really hasn't played a lot of significant football. So you start to get into a rhythm of practicing as opposed to playing. So you're sitting in the pocket, you start to feel like, you almost have a unrealistic view of your protection in there and getting a feel for that part of it. I also felt like he needed to let, he's bigger, stronger, and more athletic than he's been. And I feel like he needed to let his athleticism go with some of the pocket movement things, some scrambles, just to feel what that is like. So I wanted to make sure, he got a feel, because when you're standing there as a quarterback and you're live, that's just a whole different feel. Being a quarterback, knowing what that's like, I thought that was important. And then lastly with Julian, and again, he had a few snaps last year, but hadn't really played, college live football, and so I wanted to just get that feel of what that was like. And when you're in the pocket and you get too much depth and the defensive ends are rushing up the field, that's a sack. They're gonna whiz by you to stay off the quarterback, because that's what we do. But you got to feel what that is like. And so I felt like that was important for all three guys for different reasons. But that's probably the hardest thing for a young quarterback to understand, is standing in the pocket, when to stand in there, when to slide and create, and when to escape. And if you're not live, it's really hard to replicate that. So felt like it was important. Everybody came out alive, and so I think we feel good about that.
Stefan Kreisky, Cleveland.com.
We got to see Devin get his opportunities, whether it be against Quincy, some lined up against Jeremiah. Just where do you feel he's developing the most, and how much did he kind of capitalize on those opportunities Saturday or other practices that he's had?
You said Devin? Yeah. He just going against great wide receivers every day, and that was part of the recruiting process with him and a lot of our guys, is that you're going against great players every day across the ball, and that's how you get better. And so he's had some really good snaps, and then ones that he's grown from and learned from. But he's very, very competitive, and just like any great corner, he's got a short memory. He moves on to the next one and grows from it.
Rob Aller, Columbus Dispatch.
You're coming off a season where you broke through, won it all, and you like to talk about process. Do you feel like you found the sweet spot, and it's going spring into fall, is just rinse and repeat? Or how do you navigate this? Just do the same thing we did last year as close to possible?
Right. No. It's coming off of last year. My initial first 2 weeks after the season was, okay, I wasn't even thinking about anything moving forward. We have to take a step back in spring. We just played 16 games. It's a long year. We have to be really smart. Our roster goes to 105. We can't afford to lose anybody. Got about a week and a half into spring and realized, the guys who left played a lot of football. The majority of these guys haven't played a lot of football. We need about 5 more weeks of spring football. We do. So we're going to petition the NCAA to see if we can get 5 more weeks, but I don't think they're going to pass that one. So it's actually become one of the most physical spring balls we've ever had. Now, guys like Caleb, guys like Sonny, some of the older guys, we've kind of pulled out a little bit. We've played a little bit more with the 2s and the 3s, getting those guys more and more reps. because they need to play. They haven't played. And it's so much different when you're a backup and you flash and you make a play or two. When you're with the twos, okay, now you're the guy that we're focusing on. You got to sustain that level of play throughout a whole game. And we call it, you got to carry water. You got to be able to do the work. And that's growing up, as we all know. And so, we're looking for a lot of these guys to take the next step with that, to be able to now take more of these reps and be able to handle that for extended periods of time. And so that's where we're growing. But we're young, inexperienced. But the more we can do this, the more we can play and get scrimmage-like environments, the better. So we're going to do that at the spring game on Saturday, just to kind of hit that format. So we'll break up offense and defense, and the first part of that will be thud, for some of the guys who have played a lot of football. But we'll be doing that, and then once that happens, after a few drives, we'll get right into it, and we'll be tackling. The quarterbacks will not be live, but everybody else will, and it'll look like a normal spring game.
Dan Hope, Love the Warriors.
You mentioned last week that you need to see some defensive tackles step up. Have you seen any growth in that area in terms of building depth there?
There's been flashes, but in order for us to play defense like we did last year, we're going to need those guys to step up more than they have. I think, again, there's ability there, but consistently playing at a certain level is something that's a challenge that I know that Coach Johnson is going to be pushing these guys for over and over again. And we need these guys to step up in a big way. I think that guys have gotten better for sure. I think you're seeing it. But in order to be where we need to be next year, there needs to be more and more growth as we move forward.
Dave Holmes, WSYX.
Yeah, Ryan, without fail, the fan base will overreact on Sunday morning to 10 or 15 throws in this game because that's all they're seeing. I guess if you're, Professor Day, and this is the spring semester final exam, what percentage of the grade, how much do you weight a game like that as opposed to what you've seen the last few weeks?
It's a piece. I think about quarterbacks' journeys along the way, and you just take certain guys, now that are in the NFL, and you just start in high school, and then you go to college, and you see their journey, and some guys transfer, and they go somewhere, and then they transfer somewhere else, and they finally play their best football later on, or then maybe some guys go on and play some of their best football in the NFL. It's a process and a journey along the way. So it's hard to make hard and fast decisions sometimes with young players. The key to all of it is them being resilient and learning and growing. And the faster they can learn from their mistakes and get better, the better off they're going to be. And so I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what it's going to look like. But this is just the beginning. I don't know, like you said, like what percentage we're there. I can't really tell you. But I know that these guys all have to continue to grow and get better, and part of that may be throughout the fall. I don't know. We'll have to see where it goes. But the good news is all three can do it. They physically can do it. They can throw. You've seen them do that before, but it's now playing winning football for us. So the best we can do is put them in game environments. That's our job as coaches. But they're still green.
Just a few more. Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Right, with Lincoln and Julian being pretty much neck and neck, is this a competition you expect to go into fall camp, or is there any way to be resolved?
I mean, maybe one of these guys jumps out ahead this week and really, make some separation, which if they do, then they do. But we'll see. We'll kind of see where it goes. And tomorrow will be a big day. But then really, Friday is more of a spiders practice. We have our high school clinic here, but then the spring game. So somebody would have to make a significant move here on Tuesday or Saturday to really make that move to jump ahead.
All right, great stuff from Ryan Day live at the Woody Hayes after spring practice today in advance of the spring game on Saturday. What he said right there, I think, tells you what's coming in the fall, which is a quarterback competition that will extend into August one more time. And unlike in past seasons when we've had this extend into August, this one feels like the competition will be very, very real. We'll get some reaction to what Ryan Day had to say at the Woody Hayes coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here from my friends at High Bank Distillery Co., located right here in Columbus. Introducing their newest product, 614 Vodka, Ohio's house vodka. Perfect to make a drink at home or try when you're out at your favorite local restaurant. Learn more at 614vodka.com.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply.
Attention kingdom-seeking business professionals, entrepreneurs, and investors in Columbus. Are you ready to experience a life-changing event that will elevate your faith, finances, and future in 2025? Then you won't want to miss this. Join us for Life Search, featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center for an extraordinary one-day event that will empower you to transform every area of your life through the power of faith. Prepare to be inspired by an incredible lineup of champions, including college football champions Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs, three-time national champion head coach Urban Meyer, sportscaster Kirk Herbstreit, two-time national football champion Tim Tebow, and more. These champions have experienced firsthand how faith transforms lives, and they'll be joining Life Search to share their powerful stories and insights on how to integrate faith into your business, finances, and every aspect of your journey. Seats are selling fast to this unforgettable event, so don't wait. Head to lifesearch.com now to secure your tickets before they're gone. Life Search featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center. Don't miss out. Your transformation begins here. Visit lifesearch.com today.
Hi, Kevin. How's my engine doing?
Well, you tell me, little lady.
What?
Ma'am, an engine is delicate. It's got a lot of parts. Rub it together.
Oh, is that so?
Lube her up real nice, and she'll purr like a kitty cat.
How do you know so much about engines?
Well, I spent a lot of time under that hood.
Babe, she is running hot. Let's go. And next time, I get to play the mechanic.
Rev up the romance with Lion's Den, the official store of pleasure, passion, and romance.
Bands are us when dreams don't get in. Bands are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
Bands are us when dreams don't get in. Bands are us.
The Roofing Guys are your locally owned, trusted family business right here in Central Ohio. They've been hammering quality and service through the roof for over 25 years, offering professional services in roofing, siding, gutters, and more. Contact them at theroofingguys.com. That's theroofingguys.com.
Remember how that little girl in Poltergeist was in the TV? Yeah? Well, she's actually dead now. It's quite sad. Anyway, watch your favorite fan shows on your TV by subscribing to us on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan. Do it now.
This is Pause Before You Play, and it's time for more game day picks from local sports fans. You're on the air. Who you got?
Actually, I'm not betting. Just chilling and watching the game.
I know that move. A pause. Sounds like you've got a winning strategy.
Exactly. After I set limits and recognized the risk, I knew it was time to stop.
Now that is responsible betting, folks. Sports are fast. Betting shouldn't be. Make a plan at pausebeforeyouplay.org. That's pausebeforeyouplay.org.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We'll see mostly sunny skies today and highs getting in the mid to upper 50s, but winds will pick up, which will add that wind chill, so make sure to bundle up. We could see some isolated showers later on in the day, otherwise decreasing clouds overnight. Lows in the 20s with a freeze warning in place that goes overnight into your Tuesday. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfolo with your 10 weather impact forecast.
Matty Ice is currently bathing himself in creamy jalapeno dip. And I've officially run out of ways to tease this show. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan. The best hair on the air. You were listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, we had Ryan Day's press conference live for you here just moments ago. Obviously, the majority of the conversation centered around the three quarterbacks, but especially the two quarterbacks, as Ryan talked a little bit about how Tavian, just quite honestly, he still should be a high school kid. So he's not necessarily in the mix, but he used the words neck and neck to describe the competition between Kienholz and Sayin at the moment. I think the thing that jumped out to me, and I think it's just, first of all, this is going to go into August. So I know that there was maybe some conjecture that it wouldn't because Texas was the opponent. There's nothing that's going to change. I mean, I'm reading between the lines, but I feel pretty confident about this. Nothing's going to change in the way that they view those two quarterbacks this week. They've got a practice tomorrow. They've got kind of a soft practice on Friday, and then the spring game on Saturday. It would almost take, to me, it would take injury, which no one wants, and they're not going to play live again in the spring game. So they were live over the weekend. They won't be live in the spring game. He mentioned that as well. So I don't think anything is going to happen this week that prevents us from having a quarterback competition bleed into August and to be a major part of the first 2 weeks of camp. And I think the reason that Ryan Day went live on Saturday and the reason that he demanded a spring game this Saturday is these kids just haven't played much. They haven't. Lincoln Kienholz was thrust into action when they were surprised by the decision of Kyle McCord to transfer, and then Devin Brown went down early in that Cotton Bowl game, and that's it. That's it. That's the only meaningful football he has played since being a high school kid in South Dakota. Julian Sayin came in mop-up duty only. I mean, Reese and I talked about this a lot over the last few years, is we wanted to see the backup quarterback run the full complement of the offense. You can't be critical about much that's happened at Ohio State with Ryan Day. They just won a national championship. But one thing that is a little bit tricky is at the quarterback position, those guys that are backups rarely get much in terms of gameplay. And I think that's why he had a live session on Saturday in the student appreciation practice. And I think that's why you're going to get a game on this Saturday in the spring game, because he needs to see Lincoln and Julian throw the ball under duress. He needs to know how they're going to play with live bullets. And if one of them can separate, it's worth it. And so you're going to get to see that on Saturday when you tune into the spring game, or you go to the spring game, you listen to it here. You're going to hear those two guys. Tavian obviously will get some too because there's only three of them. But those two guys, what you want to see from them is the same thing he does, which is he wants to see how they respond to circumstances.
I was really enthused to hear that they're going to be doing as much football as possible. Like, this will be as much of a game as you would expect to see, because it's on every single person's radar. Everyone who follows the sport of college football, everyone who follows football, anyone who really pays attention to major sporting events in America knows what's going on August 30th in Columbus. And so that, I think, has made this one of, if not the most interesting springs we've had in a very long time, considering the time away from the national championship game. Just 2 months. The start of spring ball, getting two quarterbacks acclimated to doing football. Like, he was talking, he talked about everything that I think we've known since both men stepped on campus. And this was Lincoln a year or two ago. This was Julian a little over a year ago, was that they're tremendous at doing football. But they need to do the little things correctly. They need to make the routine plays routine, and they need to learn how to operate an Ohio State offense. And that gets expedited when you have the opponent that you do at the beginning of the season, because there's no wading into this. This is, especially even with Tavian, he mentioned, and I love the fact that he did that. You're throwing Tavian into the pool, giving him floaties for a little bit, but at one point you're like, all right, swim, kid.
I think it's been interesting this spring how much, when Ryan Day has been available, we haven't talked about the quarterbacks. It's so funny, after a student appreciation day where there was kind of football and it really didn't go the way a lot of us thought it was going to at that position, this one was almost all quarterbacks.
It's all that matters. Honestly. Like, the rest of it, they're going to figure out the rest of it. You know, they're going to figure out the middle of the defensive line. They're going to figure out, they'll figure out the two tackles. He had some comments about Austin Saravold being able to be kind of like a swing guy. He could start at guard or tackle. That's very beneficial. I think they probably like the running back room enough. They might try to add to that. Who knows? But if you don't have this position nailed, then you don't have much of a damn chance. He knows it. Everybody knows it. It's the most important position in sports. He's got really talented guys who came from very different places, all kind of at the same spot. And quite honestly, stylistically, they're very different. I mean, what you're signing up for is different be it Sand or Kienholz. Kienholz is he might be the best overall athlete on the whole damn team. I mean, he might be. He's on a very short list of a guy who can kind of do everything. I would bet anything Lincoln Kienholz drives a golf ball like 310. I'd bet anything he does. I bet he does that. I bet he would, if they put a basketball team together, he would be in the starting five of that. We know if there was a baseball team, he would make that. He'd be the best player on the baseball team. Hell, he might even be able to play for the Ohio State baseball team. Who knows? He might have that type of talent. Probably does. Julian is a professional quarterback and has been since he was young. So they're very different in terms of that, but they're arriving, and stylistically they're very different. When we have Ryan on at 11:30, I want to talk to him about that in terms of building an offense around guys who are a little bit different and recruiting a room that's a little bit different. Tavian St. Clair probably aligns a little bit more with Lincoln than Julian does. So those conversations are ones that need to be had. The other thing that I would say that jumped out was kind of a reminder of Jeremiah Smith's superstardom. And this would be like if Clarett had returned and he was wealthy and there was social media. Just think about that. When he said Jeremiah Smith's one of the most famous Ohioans, 19.
I actually, on my notes, put a star next to that where it says Jeremiah Smith's celebrity, that they actually have to have a plan in place to deal with his celebrity.
Yeah. I mean, it's him, Ellie De La Cruz, Myles Garrett, Donovan Mitchell. Those are the guys at that point. So that's where you stand on that. All right, this will be a fun one. Again, a reminder, Ryan will join us Thursday at 11:30 here on the program. Getting some clarity in the NFL at the quarterback position, potentially for the Cleveland Browns, and it seems especially for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We will get to that in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Buying a home used to feel like a complete headache. Listings here, pre-approval there, financing somewhere else. Now, Rocket is giving every home one address. Rocket.com. A single seamless homeownership platform to help you find, buy, sell, finance, and refinance your home. Everything you need, all under one roof. Visit Rocket.com, the new home for all things home ownership. Rocket, own the dream.
Welcome, John, our new admin lead.
Thanks.
You've got your laptop, all your admin apps. Oh, and you'll be in charge of ordering food for the team. So here's your drawer full of menus.
Whoa.
You'll keep your receipts in this file folder. Whoops, receipt confetti.
Oh, dear.
Oh, and all these sticky notes have everyone's dietary preferences.
Have you tried Easy Cater? Online ordering from great restaurants, tools to save time and stay on budget, digital receipts in one place.
We're gonna need a bigger recycling bin.
Easy Cater, the smarter, simpler way to order food for your workplace. Order now at easycater.com.
We're catching up with that famous deep-sea explorer, Jacques Black Jacques. Jacques, where are you today? You're in Columbus. What could you possibly be exploring in Columbus?
The April showers bring flooding to Batmans.
Oh, I see. Spring rains mean basements are flooding.
This not necessary. Apex Pros.
Not necessary. Call Apex Pros.
A simple zoom pump check.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble understanding this. Zoom pump check. Sump pump check. Are you saying sump pump check? Yes, of course. Sump pump check from the pros who knows at Apex Pros.
They come to your house.
They come to your house.
They test your zoom pump.
They test your, what is it again?
Zoom pump.
Sump pump, right.
All with a 5-star guarantee.
All with a 5-star guarantee. Now, see, I understood that perfectly.
No doubt about it. Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Weston Air Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Bo knows many people. He talks to the interesting ones on this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
Saw reporting this morning from Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network that the belief is that if Aaron Rodgers plays football in 2025, it will be in Pittsburgh. Certainly feels like they're headed towards that. I can't remember if you guys mentioned this or if we talked about it on this program or not, but I know Pat McAfee is doing a show in Pittsburgh here in the next couple of weeks, and there's a lot of kind of momentum feeling that Rodgers will be there and then say he's going to be a Steeler. I certainly think Pittsburgh is behaving that way. They're behaving as if they know Aaron Rodgers is going to quarterback the Steelers this year. The acquisition of DK Metcalf. They only have Skylar Thompson and Mason Rudolph in that room, and they haven't really been in on anybody else. So it feels like this has been preordained for a long time, and I guess it shouldn't come as a surprise. So it does seem as though that will be the case, and this is the first time I've heard that from a plugged-in media guy. It'll be Pittsburgh or nothing for Rodgers.
So the big night at is Wednesday, April 9th at PPG Paints Arena. So if they bring him out on stage, that'll be in a couple of days. So we'll see.
So is this like what is this? Is this like a live taping of his show, or is it just kind of like a party?
I don't know. I think it's both. I don't know if they're going to be doing that show and putting it on ESPN per se, but I think they'll have the show. It'll be available on YouTube, but they are also throwing a party during it. So my guess is there will be a lot of F-bombs thrown without having to worry about censors, and I think they're just going to do their thing with all of their friends, which includes one Aaron Rodgers. So if you're putting all of the red yarn together, that seems to be the time to do it.
Oh, okay. So this is it's like a stand-up comedy act is what it is, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you've ever watched his show, it kind of meshes together the comedic aspects of a live stand-up show with some sports here and there.
No, I'm just curious. I was curious what time of day it was.
Oh, 8 o'clock.
Oh, 8 o'clock. Okay. So it's not his regular show at all. It's 8 o'clock at night. Okay. So that would certainly make some sense, and the momentum building towards that would be very, very real. Last Friday, a surreal scene out in Boulder, Colorado, a place I'm quite familiar with, and it was for the Colorado Pro Day. And you think about the fact that the entire league was there, that it was this late in the game, too. But by any measure, you think about what Deion Sanders has done in Boulder, and we'll get to Hunter and Shedeur and, if anything, to be made of the rumors surrounding all of that in regard to the Browns. When he took the job at Colorado, I remember saying on the show, I don't know about that fit. I don't know how you recruit there. This is a guy who spent the majority of his life in the southeastern part of the United States or in Texas. Where are you going to get players? How are you going to get them to come to Colorado? We knew that his son was going to come. You knew that Travis Hunter was going to come with him. The infamous video of him in that first player meeting with the Colorado guys who were there, who said, "I'm bringing new luggage," and it's Louis. It was. They became one of the most watched teams in his first year at Colorado, and then in year two, they were on the precipice of making the college football playoff before blowing it late. Wasn't a game at Kansas that they lost late in the season, I want to say, that kind of cost them a shot at the college football playoff. But to have the whole league at your pro day is a remarkable accomplishment for him. To have a Heisman Trophy winner in Travis Hunter, who it does feel like, from a Browns perspective, if Cam Ward goes 2, they just turn in the card for Travis Hunter and say, good. That's fine. Now, if Travis Hunter, if Cam Ward does not go number 1, do the Browns take Ward at number 2? My hunch is they would. But they've played this entire process so close to the vest. Really no information getting out of there. And this is really how this regime has done business up there, if you think about it. I mean, the acquisition of Jerry Jeudy came out of nowhere. The acquisition of Amari Cooper came out of nowhere. And that's how they're handling this draft as well. It is with a steel trap. No news is getting out. I think from a Browns fan's perspective, if Cam Ward goes 1, and quite honestly, for a lot of you out there, even if Cam Ward is available at 2, I feel like if you take Travis Hunter, that's going to be a win for most fans. He's a weapon. He did something that has never been done before. To me, if it's Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter at 2, that's not much of a conversation. The Cleveland Browns could put out a starting defense right now that would be in the middle of the league right now, as currently constructed. And that's without knowing about Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah or whatever his future may hold. Offensively, they have a billion holes that need to be fixed. And you could play a game with Kenny Pickett. And by the way, drafting Travis Hunter at 2, drafting Travis Hunter at 2 would not in any way preclude you from drafting a quarterback at 33 or 67 or somewhere else to battle. It also would not preclude you from potentially adding Kirk Cousins if he gets cut down in Atlanta. So there's that. That's in play too. I think Hunter would be a very easy sell to a fan base, and I think he's a stud. I think he's the best player in this draft. Let's not overthink it. Just pure player. He's the surest thing. There's no scenario where I see where Travis Hunter doesn't, at the minimum, offensively have like a Percy Harvin career. Minimum. I just see no scenario how he's not that at the very minimum.
Yeah, keep it simple. Just take the best guy that you have on the board. No need to complicate it. You say Kenny Pickett's going to start games for the Browns. Interesting Browns fans in week 1 of the football season when you'll see Pickett out there. Fine by me, to be honest with you. I think Haslam kind of tipped the hand of the Cleveland Browns when he got out, last week and talked about Deshaun Watson and how it was a swing and a miss and how this is going to be a build out of that. I think you can start to alleviate. You can start to. I don't know if alleviate fans' expectations. I don't know what the hell that even means. But if you draft Travis Hunter, you can at least say we've got a guy that can make plays on both ends, but he can especially be a catcher of touchdowns. Should make Browns fans feel a little better. More so than what a quarterback would be.
Well, way more so than what a defensive end would be.
Sure. Because you can also get, this is supposed to be a defensive end heavy draft. So if you come out with one in the third round, or even if you take the best available at 33.
I think that, to me, it's got to be a weapon at almost every pick has to be a weapon. They don't have, outside of Jerry Jeudy, who was really good last year, and David Njoku down the seam, they don't have anything to fear at all offensively. You can't go into an AFC that we think is going to have Aaron Rodgers, an AFC North, that we think is going to have Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf added to that room, that we know is going to have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, that we know is going to have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, and go Kenny Pickett, Jerry Jeudy. That ain't it. That ain't it. You have to have weapons. You have to score points at a high level. 6 of the highest scoring teams in the AFC, of the 7 who made it, 6 of them were in the top 7 in offensive production a year ago. You have to. If you finish in the top 7 in a conference over the last 5 years, you have an 85% chance of making the postseason offensively. You got to score. You have to. Hunter at 2, Travion Henderson at 33, quarterback in the 3rd round. That's got to be the mentality. The defense is fine. You've got Miles, you've got Denzel, you've got Delpit. You hope you get JOK back. There's enough weapons there that can get a stop or have a change of momentum play. That's what Miles is paid to do, give a change of momentum play, a big strip sack fumble, those type of things. Defense does not win championships in the NFL anymore. It doesn't. They have to score points. Hunter can do that. He can play some defensive back as well. You can use him in the return game. To me, Hunter or Ward, you're either going to get the best quarterback in this draft or you're going to get the best weapon in this draft. That's something that ought to make you pretty happy, one way or the other. Either the best quarterback in the draft or the best weapon, one or the other. One of them will be a Cleveland Brown, theoretically, by the end of the month. We get your 3 things on a Monday up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Steel, walk behind, zero turn, and stand on mowers are built to get the job done. Shop online or at your local Steel dealer. Steel, let's go mow.
This Ohio State football spring practice report is brought to you locally on The Fan by Roosters and by your Ohio Kubota dealers.
Ohio State football spring practice report.
As the Buckeyes start the final week of spring camp, head coach Ryan Day was asked earlier in the week as to who has stood out this spring.
The running back room has been good. It's hard in the spring to evaluate running backs because we're not taking to the ground really very often. So, but James looks good, and CJ and Bo, all 3 of those guys, and even Sam has done a nice job. So again, hard to evaluate, but there's improvement there. Tight end room is deep as we thought it would be. There's a lot of growth there. Up front, I feel good right now, or feel solid interior. The development of the tackles is still something that's, a work in progress that I feel like we have what we need there, but there just needs to continue to get more and more reps and feel it. But there's definitely improvement there.
This report was brought to you by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center and by Weber Grills. I'm Matt Andrews on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
Imagine a tailgate. The heat of the flame, the sizzle of the burger, the squeeze of the ketchup. Grilling is essential to tailgating as the game itself. Weber Grills are there in the hours, minutes, and even seconds before kickoff. Before the best damn band in the land plays the battle cry, signaling it's time to take the field. Weber is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. This season, Weber created an officially licensed limited edition Ohio State grill inspired by the iconic Buckeye helmets. Find the best damn grill in the land at local Ohio retailers.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,500 off BX23S tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Visit BuckeyeKubotaDealers.com to find a dealer near you.
Huntington is banking that just clicks. Like asterisk-free checking. An account that's filled with features, but no monthly maintenance fee, no matter what. Because it's your money, right? So we think you should keep it. It's just one more way we're looking out for people every day. Is your bank looking out for you? Maybe it's time to switch. Visit your neighborhood Huntington branch or make the switch at huntington.com/yourmoney.
Wouldn't it be nice if you could dump all your problems on someone else's back? Well, when you wake up to a clogged drain or a plumbing issue, make that Mr. Rooter's problem.
Call 855-MISTERS today or MrRooter.com.
Call Mr. Rooter, he'll be there quick.
Foodie alert! Alton Brown's farewell tour, Last Bite, is coming to Columbus on April 22nd at Mershon Auditorium. Expect culinary chaos and scientific surprises. Tickets are on sale at Ticketmaster. Don't let this delicious opportunity slip away.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, Reese, what do we have on the poll today?
The Daily Fan Poll asks, well, it's sponsored by Caster Connection, and it asks, who wins tonight's NCAA National Championship game? Florida or Houston are your options. 56% of you say the Florida Gators.
Yeah, I got to root for Houston. I got way too many UF grad buddies who it would be insufferable if I got to deal with them winning the third national championship. So I'm all Houston. Are you guys rooting for Houston or Florida tonight?
Houston. Anything SEC can go to hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the part of me wants Kelvin Sampson to win his first in Houston, but like I said, I picked Florida in all this, so I feel like I got to back them all the way.
So wasn't when we did like the bracket rankings, I think Dom and Skip both had Florida, and then Panama Ted had Houston, right?
He's got Houston, correct.
All hail the Fans bracketologist, Panama Ted.
How about that? And so if Houston wins it, what a job out of him.
I told Jacob Reimer yesterday, no more college basketball videos from him on the Fan social unless Panama Ted is in them.
He's got to be. He's got to be in him. He's crushing it. All right, time for 3 things on a Monday. Hit it, guys.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
All right, number 1 for me, big ups to my guy Nick Myers, Ohio State lacrosse program. Went to Johns Hopkins over the weekend and won. With the win, the Buckeye lacrosse program improves to 11-1 on the season. They are number 2 in the country. They've won 11 straight games. They host Maryland this weekend. Maryland, by the way, ranked 6th in the country. That game is at 2 o'clock. So spring game right into that. Feels like a win for everybody, but just a remarkable job. They lost their opener to Utah, have not lost since. Absolutely crushing it. Good job out of Coach Myers and the Buckeye Laxers.
A bad job out of Nebraska football. So Matt Rule said about a month ago that they weren't going to be doing the spring game because they didn't want to showcase their talent for portal poachers, which is stupid because everybody's doing the same exact thing. Like, you've even poached portal people. Your quarterback was committed somewhere else before you poached him. So the idea that that was going to be the reason why they canceled the spring game shows that he doesn't get how important these things, I think, are to their fan bases. Nebraska football is instead going to be doing something called the Husker Games on April 26th at Memorial Stadium. It's going to feature a roping contest, a fastest man competition, a tractor pull relay, and so much more. And the so much more leads me to believe, who's paying for that?
I think you could only do it there. That's one of the few places you could do it, just because those fans will kind of show up for anything. But I think they're kind of the answer to your question, Reese, of where else who is paying to watch that? Maybe only people at Nebraska. It's a tough sell.
I feel like the tractor pull seems appropriate, right?
I mean, they're using real tractors.
But it's like, here, look at this. Don't look at the football product. Okay.
I just think it's tough to sell tickets for that.
First thing for me, guys. So I came in the studio this morning, and I immediately noticed something didn't seem right with the sound. I even asked Reese, I was like, hey, does that commercial sound okay? And he was like, yeah, it sounds all right to me. Well, I realized pretty quickly that there's 2 speakers in here, and only the left one was working. And I was like, that's kind of weird. So I sent Greg an email. I didn't send a ticket because I've never done a ticket before and didn't really want to learn how to do that during the show. So I sent Greg an email, and he comes in. He's like, yeah, make sure you send a ticket next time. But he goes down. There's a bunch of things to the left of me here, to my left leg, a bunch of boxes in a rack. Yeah. The one on the bottom, he goes down, he turns up a knob, and the right speaker was working. I had no clue. There were volume knobs down there for the speakers. Now I know.
He's the smartest guy in the building. He just is.
I mean,
how hard is
he
that?
kind of has to be, though.
High is that bar, though?
Not.
But he is.
Yeah. Number 2 for me, I thought White Lotus sucked. I thought the last 20 minutes were kind of sucked, kind of a cop-out. It's funny because I was riveted to all of it. I thought the execution just was not what it sucked is too strong. That's too much.
I was disappointed.
It was entertaining, but it was just not the payoff in any way. And usually at the end of those seasons, and they're incredible, all 3 of them are. I know Bob's watching the first one now, or maybe he's into the second, but like all 3 of those, if you're looking for something, they're all really, really good. But there just was an opportunity, I think, for a bigger payoff here. And in the previous 2 seasons, like, you got much more of a ribbon on what had happened, and you didn't get that at all. It was just kind of left open. It was not at all believable after everything that happened in the episode, that everyone would just be like, okay, and now we're leaving and everything's fine. Like, wait, what? What are we talking about? So there was a potential for it to really be crushed. It was riveting television, but the actual execution, I thought, really fell flat.
Didn't feel like it needed to be 90 minutes, especially with what the payoff at the end.
What they did.
Right. And it also felt like there could have been moments of the season that they didn't show to make up for a better payoff. Because this is in my opinion, the slowest of the 3 seasons. Still crushed it. I still think did a really good job.
Yeah.
But I was left disappointed with that. Also, a little disappointed in the Columbus Crew. So they're unbeaten on the season. And this from loyal listener and YouTube chat commenter Chris, who was there for the family night. There was supposed to be $1 hot dogs. That was what was advertised. He says, I went to the game went to the game family night. They were struggling to keep up with the hot dogs. It was $1 dogs. He adds, the crew needs to talk to the Clippers to work on their hot dog game. Yeah, if you're going to advertise $1 dogs, you need to make sure that there is no point a shortage of those $1 dogs. Right up the street is the absolute GOAT in hot dog nights. Just talk to them.
Use all the resources you can, right? Especially when they're right up the street.
Yep.
Doesn't make a lot of sense. Second thing for me, and I thought of this yesterday during the fans call-in show, because a lot of our listeners do call in and have some really good questions and points. Our second CBJ Slap Shots came out last week with Kent Johnson. It's something we wanted to try out here at the end of the year and hopefully do more next year on the fan socials. And I was thinking of ways that maybe we could make those better. If you, the fans, have any questions that you would like to hear from some of the players when we do these, go ahead and find me on the socials and let me know what questions you would like to hear from some of these players, maybe non-hockey related.
All right, finally, number 3 for me. If you have young kids and they're going out and about and playing the youth sports in these cold, brutal temperatures, as Beamsy's going to have to tonight at 5:30, one thing, and the great Chops brought this to my attention from his days covering, doing play-by-play for the PLL's, or not the PLL, the MLL's Ohio Machine. If you're in lacrosse and you have young kids and you're trying to keep their hands warm, surgical gloves work. Now, here's the key to it, though. You have to put the gloves on while their hands are warm, and then it will trap the heat inside and actually help. NBC did it last night. Total game changer. So, little piece of advice out there if you're looking to keep the hands warm.
Yeah, I'll make this my third thing and double up with that. They have to be warm hands first. Same with your feetsies. If you go in cold, it just traps the cold there, and it makes for a really uncomfortable experience, regardless of the glove you have, whether it be surgical or yard working gloves, because those can insulate pretty well, but they've got to be warm at first.
Final thing for me, don't go anywhere this afternoon. Rothman and Ice coming up next. They will get more Ryan Day reaction from Stephen Means of Cleveland.com.
You have that to look forward to, which is nice. We are back tomorrow, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Common Man and T-Bone are idiots. You should listen to them anyway.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan, Ohio's idiot destination.
Do you suffer from leg pain, leg swelling, varicose veins, or leg ulcers? Dr. Barry Zeta and Dr. Joseph Senta at Ohio Vein and Vascular Polaris are pioneers in the vein and vascular field. Dr. Zeta and Dr. Senta can perform minimally invasive procedures that will get you back on track to a pain-free life. Stop living with leg pain and start the process to healthy living with a free healthy leg screening. Go to loveyourveins.com or call 614-324-VEIN. That's 614-324-VEIN or loveyourveins.com.
Common Man here for Weed Man. I always have the greenest lawn in the neighborhood. It's luscious. I swear by two things, water and Weed Man. Weed Man is locally owned and operated by Corbin and Audrey. They will make sure your lawn is weed-free and looking gorgeous. Of course, they get rid of weeds, but they also do aeration, mosquito control, grub control, crabgrass prevention, and flea and tick control for your four-legged friends. For a free quote, give them a call, 614-733-3747, weedmanusa.com. Tell them Common Man sent you.
Hi, Kevin. How's my engine doing?
Well, you tell me, little lady.
What?
Ma'am, an engine is delicate. It's got a lot of parts rubbing together.
Oh, is that so?
Lube her up real nice, and she'll purr like a kitty cat.
How do you know so much about engines?
Well, I spent a lot of time under that hood.
Babe, she is running hot. Let's go. And next time, I get to play the mechanic.
Rev up the romance with Lion's Den, the official store of pleasure, passion, and romance.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Buying a home used to feel like a complete headache. Listings here, pre-approval there, financing somewhere else. Now, Rocket is giving every home one address. Rocket.com. A single seamless homeownership platform to help you find, buy, sell, finance, and refinance your home. Everything you need, all under one roof. Visit Rocket.com, the new home for all things homeownership. Rocket. Own the dream.
Welcome, John, our new admin lead.
Thanks.
You've got your laptop, all your admin apps. Oh, and you'll be in charge of ordering food for the team. So here's your drawer full of menus.
Whoa.
You'll keep your receipts in this file folder. Whoops! Receipt confetti.
Oh, dear.
Oh, and all these sticky notes have everyone's dietary preferences.
Have you tried EasyCater? Online ordering from great restaurants, tools to save time and stay on budget, digital receipts in one place.
We're gonna need a bigger recycling bin.
EasyCater, the smarter, simpler way to order food for your workplace. Order now at easycater.com.
Transforming your land with a John Deere compact tractor is as easy as connect, latch, load, haul, spread. Cutting grass is as simple as roll, click, mow. Box blading is as effortless as hook, lock, grade. And backhoeing is as convenient as turn around, switch, dig. Because when you've got the versatility to tackle just about any job and dealer support in your own backyard, you just have to get in the seat. Find the right compact tractor for you at johndeere.com.
Who's cutting down the nets this year? Get in on all the tournament action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest upsets to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.